There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
With more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes, Welton Rayom is committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle, slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
We are live 7P, the place to be. And I got to make the board right or else I'll get upset at myself. Usually it's Frankie causing that problem. But no, it is not. And we will not make fun of Frankie Frezko for being a Gator tonight. That will not happen. Although the U did spank that ass 41-10. Frankie, all I need you to do, buddy, come on, Frankie. Come on. Put it right there and smile.
Okay, let me tell you something. First and foremost,
and by the way, Steven Gonzalez, no doubt, Dad, how we doing? Everybody else on chat, please jump in.
We never agreed to a bet where I had to throw the U sign out there for you, sir. I will do that. But I know you guys are going to be trolling me throughout the show. I will go ahead and say congratulations to the University of Miami. They did win. You guys beat a Florida team that is not in this. It's not the same Florida team. It's a Florida team that has been struggling for the last couple of years with Billy Napier. So, you know, when it comes to that, props to you guys. But I will say this. I'm not a hater, but I will promise you. I will bet this with you. When the University of Miami loses, I will throw the U sign. How about that? When the University of Miami loses, I will throw the U sign because I know Mario Cristobal and that University of Miami will lose this season. I predict they will lose 2 games this season. Will they win the ACC? Maybe. I have the feeling they're going to go to the championship game. I don't know if they'll win it, but I will say they will at least lose at least 2 games. And when they lose one of those 2, I will throw the U sign just for you guys, just to piss you guys off.
So I don't get the U sign here?
No, I'm not going to go ahead and cater to
order the outfit that I'm ordering for you to wear.
That's fine. I mean, the bet was I was going to wear something, a shirt or something.
Oh, no. You said something. Exactly. Now, you all I needed was a U, and I wasn't going to order the cheerleading outfit.
I am not wearing a cheerleading outfit. That was not the bet. The bet was I would wear a University of Miami shirt. That was the bet.
Male cheerleading outfit.
The bet was
the male cheerleading outfit.
That was never the bet because I never was gonna go ahead and I even sent you a copy of the shirt.
You never thought you were gonna have to pay up. Go ahead, say it. Say it.
Well, I never thought
the Gators were actually gonna beat Mario Cristobal and the Miami Hurricanes.
I did.
I did.
I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, you thought that who the hell is your coach?
Crappy ass Billy Napier.
That's right, Billy Napier. I'm sorry. That's right. Napier was going to outcoach Cristobal is what you thought. And then hell, we won't even talk about No Doubt and Mike Norvell. I mean, my God, this guy.
Hold on a second.
Dabo Sweeney rule. You don't get transfers. That's working out great.
See, look. I'm going to tell you something. I know this is the Squared Circle Digest, so we have to
This is Squared Circle Digest, but we're going to talk football for the next 5 minutes.
I'm going to tell you something. And this is the reason why I don't like the University of Miami. So I was working on Saturday. I was DJing a wedding on Saturday during the game. So I was tuning in on my phone, watching it at the same time I was working and doing everything.
Running wild for you.
Yeah, I was doing both things. I was multitasking.
Yeah, the first half you were probably like, yeah, we got it.
So I wasn't able to watch the game and look and see it. I saw this is how hardcore of a fan I am towards this animosity between both teams. I recorded this game and I said, "Oh, when I come back, either Saturday or on Sunday, I'll watch the game." So I'm doing the wedding and I start getting notifications on my phone. And here we go. I get 1, 2. I'm starting to see. You know how on your phone, I have a iPhone. The app has like little numbers on it, and I start seeing on my Instagram 5, 6. 7, and then I go on X and I see 5, 6, 7. You guys who are University of Miami fans started trolling me while I was working. You guys started sending me messages out there talking crap about how the Gators suck, sending me memes. I was like, what in the world is this? I was working, guys.
You knew what it was. You knew what it was.
I had like about 15 to 20 notifications. I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb because I kept going bing, bing every minute. I'm like, what is going on? These guys, you Canes fans are ridiculous. And then I go and I'm like, okay, I'm done with the show. I'm done with the wedding. So I'm like, I'm gonna tune into the post game show of Big O. Let me tune into it. And I tune into it, and here I go. I start seeing the chat board, and here I see, where's Frankie? Where's Frankie? Oh, I'm worried about Frankie. I'm like, yo, these guys and gals are just ridiculous. And this is the reason why I don't like the UM fans because
that's why. Yeah.
Number one, you guys start getting all hyped up thinking that you guys are now national champions. And that's not going to happen. Well,
that's the case. But we beat the Florida Gators.
At least you're not the one.
In the swamp and in front of recruits. Your staffers were trying to stand in front of the recruits to keep the Canes from talking to them. Like, don't come here. Come to the Canes.
What that
is like, you guys need to get to the locker room. Get to the locker room.
That was like,
you, baby. You.
That was our fault. That was our fault. Only the Gators would put the damn recruits on the side of the away team. It just doesn't.
They put them by the locker room that they come out because the
tunnel
one side,
yes,
and the Canes come out the other side, and for some reason they work their way toward the Canes.
Yeah. So they did two stupid things. They did that. They put them on the side where the Canes
finally put the Canes on the schedule. That's what they did. Stupid.
See what I'm talking about? See what I'm talking about, guys? See how you guys start getting all cocky and all that stuff? Watch, once you guys
how does Joe Hendry do it? Oh yeah, there we go.
And then the other thing that the game
I believe in Joe Hendry.
The other thing that was so dumb was that the University of Miami tells the University of Florida tells the University of Miami you could wear white.
Yeah.
What the hell are you? Dude, it's hot as balls. Like, why are you guys wearing blue jerseys and allowing the Canes to wear their white jersey? That makes no sense. I know it doesn't make a big difference, but come on, man. That's dumb. you should have made them wear their orange jersey, and we would have wore our white jerseys, and it would have probably helped us a tad bit. But
no, dude, your defense is like, I don't know if anybody got hurt. I'm not gonna sit here and say, but there was a difference in this. I don't know if the Canes made a change, if something happened with the Gators, but there was a big difference in that second half, man. And I'll tell you this much now, man. Like when I first saw Cam Ward, I have not watched any like Washington State footage or anything like that. So I didn't realize like, and to me, the first couple drives, I was like, man, he's so lackadaisical. He's just like nonchalant back there, like, oh, let me run back and throw it. And I was like, no, this isn't going to be good. And then, damn it, did he not? It's just like, okay.
Hold on. So I watched the replay of the game, and I'm seeing you guys, like give these kudos and hurrah. You're ready to crown Cam Ward as your savior of the University of Miami.
We had Graham Mertz as our quarterback last year. Okay, we had Tyler Van Dyke. Like that's a huge difference. We have a quarterback now, like when we had D.R. King, that you can go, okay, we can win games. With Tyler Van Dyke, it was like, don't lose them.
Okay, so hold on a second. So if I started watching the game because I wanted to see what the hell was going on. In that first drive that you guys drove, we stopped you guys.
Yeah.
And you guys should have gotten a freaking field goal, but our defense, like dumbasses, went ahead and charged Cam Ward, didn't hold back, and they gave him a personal foul that gave you automatically a first down, and then you guys were able to score. I said, here we go. Because now momentum is out of our league because you guys scored a touchdown. And they did it again right before halftime. You guys were supposed to punt. They went ahead and hit him again. They gave him a first down, and then they scored another touchdown. And then I'm going to be honest with you, Sean. When your offense is not moving the ball and the offense is not finishing, you put a lot of pressure on your defense, and the defense can only hold up so much. And remember, our biggest downfall last year was our defense. Our defense sucked. So our secondary is supposed to be our strongest point. They struggled. Because at the end of the day, if Cam Ward has so much freaking time back there, because there was a couple plays where that guy had all day.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
All day.
And that was before he even started scrambling for more time.
Correct. So when he started scrambling and he was getting more time, I was like, oh, man, this guy's going to murder us. And then there's no way. That's why I wish we could talk a little bit about the Dolphins and the Canes and all that stuff, because I'm being honest with you. I don't know who it was. I think it was maybe Big O who was talking about it. I don't know if it was today or yesterday or whatnot. But he was saying about how the Miami Dolphins are going to be more like Kansas City, where they're going to go ahead and focus more on the secondary than on the actual defensive line. That only gets you so much, man, because you can only wide receivers are going to get open. So you need to be able to put pressure on the quarterback.
It's where you don't get big names necessarily on the defensive line, but you still got to get pressure. You still got to get pressure. You can't have guys back, especially on the NFL level. You know what I'm saying? Which I think we have guys on the Dolphins side that can, again, if they can continue what I saw in the preseason, and I get it, it's very vanilla. The blocking schemes are usually one-on-one, and you can go on and on about preseason football. But you did see glimpses from Kamara and Chop Robinson that shows that they can get to the quarterback. That's the other problem that I saw with the Gators. They had one guy that looked like he could get to the quarterback. The problem was when he got around one guy, there was another guy to chip him. So then it forced him even further out. And then you had the Canes on the other side. They were running right by your tackle. And what did your team do? Nothing. Just let them keep going. We'll figure it out. And then Graham Mertz. And again, I think the best thing that happened to the Gators was Mertz, I think is his name, right? Mertz getting hurt. Because now you got Lagway in. I think Lagway is better suited with that line you have than Mertz. Mertz is just sitting in the pocket getting killed.
The problem with the Florida Gators is that Lagway is a true freshman.
Yes.
So do you want to put him against the Wolves and put him? Although we're playing a crappy
team
this
schedule
year,
does not help you guys.
Yeah. So you put him. I mean, if you put him to play the next game, it's fine because we're playing a crappy team.
Yeah.
But moving forward, he could get hurt. But look, I obviously you guys don't tune into it. There was a podcast that had Steve Spurrier on there, and Steve Spurrier actually went ahead and commented and said, "Hey, look, I can't say what truly is in my mind because he's part of the committee, the sports committee of Florida and all that stuff, so he can't talk crap about the Gators or about the
how they're being worked, how they're
the way that they're producing crap. But he did go out and say, look, Billy Napier has to switch it up. He needs to change something in that team. And I think the only option for him to save his job is putting Lagway in moving forward. Forget about Graham Mertz. Thank you for those 5 years, but he's not the deal. You need to do something. Maybe he could figure if Billy Napier is able to figure out some way to get 6 wins this season, he saves his job because we have the hardest schedule in the country.
Hey, you got to get to a bowl game.
Yeah, to get a bowl game, I think you need.
I don't know if you're going to do it, bro. I don't know, man.
It's
I mean, again, those other teams this year, the SEC is very different. So a lot of top teams will end up playing each other. So maybe by elimination, they hurt. Maybe a key member gets hurt, a running back, a quarterback, and then by the time, but that row starts what I think. The end of September to November, the whole month of November, you're versing like all top like 10 teams. It's crazy.
And then the crazy thing is here comes Florida State, and you guys know that I'm a Florida Gator because I went to Florida and I'm a Gator fan all my life. But then my second team is Florida State, and the reason I wrote for Florida State, so you guys hate me with a passion, is because my sister went to Florida State. That's why my brother is such a big Florida State fan, because when my brother was still in like middle school and high school, we went a couple of times to Florida State, and he actually went and saw a game in Florida State. That's why he became a Florida State fan instead of he likes FIU because he obviously went to FIU, but he's a Florida State fan for that reason. I like Florida State because of my sister. My sister graduated from Florida State. So, and I just passionately hate the University of Miami. I started hating the University of Miami. Like I said it on, if you tune into Let Me Talk to You, the game where Florida played UM at the Orange Bowl. I was there my freshman year with my dad, where Brock Berlin came in and came with the comeback and beat us. And I just hated you guys with such a passion that day. And you guys, the fan base was so bad. Like the fan base threw beer at us. Fan base was cursing at us, was saying a whole bunch of stuff. So after that, I said to myself, I will never root for the University of Miami. Did I like you guys? I will go on paper on this. Back when Butch Davis was there, I think it was like 1998, 1999, I think it was. And you had that Dan Morgan as your linebacker. I love Dan Morgan. He was really good. I goes to show you, I was tuning into the University of Miami games before I would tune into Florida games, but I was tuning into those University of Miami games because I was also, I'm from Miami. So yes, at first I tuned into your games. I wasn't a fan, but I would tune in and root for you guys. I even went tomorrow. Me and my brother will talk about it because he's hurting too because of Florida State. And it, like I told you, what pisses me off is not that you guys won. I respect that you guys won. Congratulations. What pisses me off is the fan base. You taking shots.
Let me ask you this.
You taking shots at me.
The way around.
Look at the chat board.
You're not doing the same thing today if the score is not the other way around.
No, of course not.
Of course not. Of course not.
Of course
your eyes twitching. You're lying so much.
I would not have never gone ahead and said anything about the University of Miami. I would have given you guys respect. I would have said, you know what? I would have said, look, the University of Miami is doing a way better job, and I'm happy.
Give me a high 10. High 10.
I'll throw the high 10 when they lose.
Man.
Get ready, Sean. When the University of Miami
give me the high 10.
Watch, my friend. I will be here.
Come on, Frankie Frezko.
I will be here. What about your bets? You won one of them. Did you win your parlay?
No, because they went over the last field goal. You guys couldn't hold them. You couldn't even stop the second team from kicking a field goal. That put them over. It was what was the final? 42
to 17 or 41 to 17, something like that.
Yeah. It was 54.5.
Yeah. I know Florida scored 17 points.
Yeah, that's why I hate the Gators.
My God.
Garbage touchdowns. Damn you, Lagway.
We've lasted 20 minutes talking about this.
Yeah, we probably go on and on. But tonight, it's about you talking pro wrestling with me.
Really? Really?
Yes, it is. It's all about you.
It'll be a rough day.
It is. It is going to be a rough day. You can't spell rough without you.
Wow.
Remember that. All right.
Don't do UM references. throughout the whole show because you're gonna get me upset. And second of all, you should actually be thanking me because of me. I think you won our.
No, I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that. We end up being the same thing because I sat there.
So we both got to do it then. That's the only way we could do it. We both do something in the ring of death since it's tied. It's the only way we could do it. We can't.
Let's do the ring of death next episode. I didn't get to put it together, so let's do it.
That's what we do. You know, if we end up in a tie,
because technically I was like it was a 0.02 was the difference because we ended up each with the 7 losses, but I had the 13. I had more wins because of the Ricochet.
Yeah.
And then we ended up tied on losses. So the Ricochet pick took me to technically victory, but it went against what I thought should happen. And that's what I want to really talk about let's talk Bash in Berlin. I felt it was a safe pay-per-view for WWE. And by safe, meaning you got your champions over, they beat guys. And here's the other thing. This is the one thing I want to ask you about. They both, not finish-wise, but the match ended the same way. KO shaking Cody's hand, Randy Orton shaking Gunther's hand.
So stupid.
And it was like, oh, the safeness of this whole thing. Like it felt like it was just the safest pay-per-view ever. Because again, we the only one that we had even an ounce of going, they could go either way with this was the Liv and Dom versus the Damian and Rhea. And to me, and I'm just going to let's just go through, we'll just talk all Bash in Berlin right here real quick.
Okay.
And I kind of had it broken down each one, but I think they all kind of go together with talking about them playing it safe. Is you killed Judgment Day. Like, I don't even know. You can keep running it back on Raw and they take out Rhea again this week. No, they beat every person in Judgment Day at Bash in Berlin. Like, so what do they have to offer here? That was my whole thing last night when I was watching. I'm like, I don't even last night, if you want to put it that way, a one-legged Rhea Ripley still, in the main event, still played a part, and you lost that.
It was bad.
I just feel like, dude, strip the titles off of, or let's just give them to Damian and Jey Uso now, right? Because I feel like that's going to become the new thing now. Rhea and Jey Uso, and of course Damian's there. Like, the pay-per-view overall was the safest pay-per-view I've seen recently from WWE. What say you, Frankie Frezko?
Okay.
Did you free? Oh, I thought you froze.
No, because I saw what you just did.
Okay.
I'm just trying to hold back. Okay, so what you said is true. I first and foremost, I'm upset at what I saw on Saturday. I wasn't able to catch all of it. I saw some of it.
I'm upset. I just thought.
No, I'm upset. It was a washed up live event. I saw half of it, and then I was able to catch the replay the next day. I love No Mercy. Like, if you want to talk No Mercy with me, talk No Mercy with me, because I love No Mercy NXT. I think they did a phenomenal job on that show, on that live event. It was a complete opposite of what the Bash of Berlin was. It was unpredictable. A lot of things. Yeah, you had some people come in that we kind of had the idea what was going to happen, but it was still very, very entertaining compared to.
It was unpredictable, whereas Bash in Berlin was just safe. It was okay. We need to get to Bad Blood. That's what this pay-per-view really was. Let's get to Bad Blood.
And this is what pisses me off too, because like you said, it trended to Monday Night Raw. Yeah. So you had Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest beating Dom and Liv on Bash of Berlin. Yep. And then on Monday night, the whole situation where Damian Priest chases out Dom to screw him over in that 3-way match. And then you had Liv Morgan getting beat up by Rhea Ripley with the crutch and everything. I mean, what's the point of having the Judgment Day, bro? They're making them look weak. They're making them look like they don't deserve to be
there. They
there.
haven't got any, like, to me, Bash in Berlin was the easiest opportunity to where strength in numbers, and then you kind of screw over Rhea and Damian. And then again, now you bring it back to Monday night. Damian and Rhea are furious, and you go in. But I mean, they used everybody, and they didn't win. So what makes me think they're going to win any other point of the match? Like
even if they should.
Well, again, there you go. And the only other thing is that this is the other problem now is this. They beat your tag team champions pretty convincingly. And Rhea has been beating Liv pretty convincingly.
And Dom.
And Dom, yeah, that's true. And Dom as well, which, again, I feel like you could have done more with this story where you could have ended up playing it out to where Dom was stuck in the middle with nowhere to go. And I feel like now you've just said, yeah, they're all irrelevant.
But remember, Sean, we had this conversation and you got mad at me. And I told you that I was disgusted with the fact that they had gone and removed the two best badasses from the Judgment Day and now separated them. And then they kept that Judgment Day. And this is the reason why. Because you have nobody. Finn Balor is the only one technically.
Again, if you do strength in numbers, though, it doesn't matter. That's the thing. It's like, look.
It does matter if unless you don't have the storyline correctly.
They're not utilizing it.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. It's almost like they want to write this off.
You don't know. They're making Dom look even more pathetic. At least last time he was like running around, and when he was with Rhea, he was at least, catching a win here and there, being sneaky and all that stuff. You don't even have that anymore from Dom. Like, they're making him look like a little bitch. Sorry for cursing.
No, but also that's where I feel like with Dom, though, I feel like they could have played it out to where Dom was just like the little pawn in the game of Finn Balor and Liv. Finn Balor and Liv would have been the end result to me. And then you've got Dom that can't go back to Rhea because what he did to her, and then can't go to Liv because Liv doesn't really want him. And now you've got Dom, who then now you start seeing, will the fans have any sympathy for Dom? What would they do? But right now, you made a heel turn heel. Like, that's what I don't understand is Dom was a heel, and then you made him turn more of a heel by turning on the family of the Judgment Day. And like, I don't know what. To me, and again, I look at it every time, the end result to me should have been Dom being the one that ends up getting screwed.
It was just bad storytelling. Not bad storytelling. I would say bad decisions on who to win and who not to win. I think they made a mistake with that. And let's not. And
Alexa, real quick, Frankie, can you read Alexa's comment? Not the hi, but the other.
Yeah,
one.
Hi, Alexa.
No, the other one.
Absolutely.
It's all about the.
I only see one one comment. But the bad thing also too, guys, is, and I know we're jumping to the next one, but they did this exact same thing that pissed me off with the CM Punk Drew McIntyre. You got CM Punk beating Drew McIntyre, and here comes Monday night, and now you got CM Punk and Drew McIntyre again, and the stupid bracelet again.
I told you where it was going.
Why? Drop that crap.
Is going to be Hell in a Cell.
I was so mad when I saw that crap. The reason they let
CM Punk beat him so convincingly was, and then there's a story, I believe it was from Fightful, that said the WWE felt that CM Punk needed a big win. He had not won since he's been back. Not that he's wrestled a lot, but he hasn't won anything. So they felt they needed to get him that win. That's what I said. They were going to give him a win. I didn't know it was going to be as convincingly as they did with the 3 go-to-sleeps and all this stuff, and then work it back around. That's why I knew when he said in the interview afterwards, he's like, I'm done with Drew. I'm moving on to the I was like, this isn't over. This isn't over because again, as said, there was talk that they're going to be Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. And now he rips the bracelet, tears it apart, and that's going to end up at Hell in a Cell. It's going there at Bad Blood. This gave them. Drew beat him once. He beat Drew once, and now they'll settle it in Hell in a Cell.
I saw that and I was just disgusted. I was like, man, come on, man. Come on. So predictable. This thing, like I was thinking the same thing what you just said. I was like, man, they're giving it 1-1 and here it go. They're gonna do something big again.
I told you that's what they're gonna do.
So
I
dumb.
told you exactly.
It's too predictable, bro. It's too predictable. And then the crowd, this is awesome for all these matches all the damn time. Come on, man. And then you bring in let me stick to Bash and Berlin because I don't want to ruin. I'm telling you, I was one of the ones that did not like this Monday night. I hated this Monday Night Raw.
Josh, what's up, my man?
Jade Cargill, obviously, easy win with Bianca Belair. There was no way they were gonna lose. No way. There was no way they were gonna lose. Now, yesterday,
the only way they lose is if they do the turn. That was the only way. And I felt it was too early for that to happen.
Yeah. You're not gonna get that. And then didn't they lose yesterday?
Who?
Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair?
No. They got she did the dive outside and hit Bianca. They pulled Bianca Alba Fire and then won the number 1 contenders over Kairi Sane and
that's what it was. That's
Io Sky because Kairi went to jump outside and hit Bianca.
There you go. Mm-hmm. So again, it's just too much predictable crap. Like they don't have anybody else to put up against Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Come on, man. Where are we with this? It feels very like, hey, we don't give a damn. Here, I'm just throwing you here just for the hell of it, and all the fans are gonna bite into it and love it and say this is awesome. And it's not good enough for me. For me, it's not spontaneous. It's not something that I want to tune in and get excited about. I'm sorry. I'll tune in because I'm a wrestling fan.
I think what you're going to get this until they move over all of them to USA 1, and then also when they move over to the thing. They're not going to put any of the NXT's heading over to CW in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I think the beginning of October. You've got
beginning of October, I believe.
Yeah, and then SmackDown comes over next week.
Yep.
And then
USA
Raw goes to January. I think Raw goes to Netflix in January. I think it's January 6th has been the date that has been said. So I think you're going to start because again, I don't think they wanted to get through this pay-per-view because now everything kind of starts resetting. Next week is USA week. You have Raw, SmackDown, and NXT all on USA next week for the first time in a while, and you'll get 3 weeks of that, and then NXT will jump over to the CW. So,
and what no doubt just said, what event did they start the promotion for with Punk going out in an ambulance before? It was Deja Vu. Wasn't it? This is the second time CM Punk is taking out on an ambulance, right? I think
the last time was on SmackDown.
Yeah, but it was when
SmackDown when he opened up the thing and he's sitting there and he drug him out onto the stage and
so it's the same thing, man. Same thing. Like, what is different? What is like? Look, man. The problem here is you're dragging this storyline so much that I'm kind of getting not interested because. Look, did you like that match between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre at Bash of Berlin?
It wasn't bad. It was a strap match. It's what you get. I thought they would have done it a little bit. Honestly, I thought Drew would get more. And then you know how he was carrying CM Punk on his back. I thought what was going to happen was CM Punk would hit 3 of them and then be fighting for him. And then Drew McIntyre claymores him into the 4th and Punk wins the match like that. Like not as I didn't think it was going to be as convincing as what it is, but I also didn't look at it as well. Punk hasn't had any victories yet either. So in order to make the match mean something at Bad Blood, it had to be a convincing win so that CM Punk can gloat. It can't be one of those, well, I won the match, but it's because I rode on your back and hit 3 buckles and then you kicked me into the 4th. After it makes sense. Again, if you want to look at it from that perspective, I believe they've shifted too much focus on the bracelet as far as, again, this feud, it doesn't need that. Like I said, this feud didn't need a belt. This feud didn't need Seth Rollins. This feud didn't need anything. Those 2 guys were doing a perfect job. And then you started throwing things into, and then that's where it started, to me, watering down everything that was built up so much.
100%, man. I agree. I think the problem is what you just finished saying. They added so much crap to it and they focused so much on a damn bracelet that now it's kind of like, when is this feud going to be over?
Which, again, when you get the Hell in a Cell, it will be over. But now the interesting thing to me, and the other thing that I wanted to talk about, was the fact when he broke the bracelet. And then he put it in CM Punk's mouth and then hit the Claymore on him and all this stuff. Like, I don't understand. Like,
why didn't he do that from the beginning?
I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like, so we've been fighting for this bracelet over and over, and now all of a sudden you decided that, hey, you know what? I'm just going to tear the damn thing apart. Like, that should have been, to me, again, the first thing should have been, oh, you know what? Done right in front. As soon as when he laid him out on that stage on SmackDown, I would have just took it off and been like, is this what this is about? Koosh.
Yes.
Done.
Yes.
Because again, the feud to me between those two should keep going until, honestly, I almost want it not even to be a hell in a cell. I want it to be like a last man standing match where, look, CM Punk says, you put me in an ambulance twice. I'm ending this feud, putting you in the ambulance for the final time.
True.
But I believe they're going to go Hell in a Cell because that's the only feud that they could do that at Bad Blood. I got to believe there's going to be Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. And when you look around the roster, that's the only feud that can make that match. I mean, what are you going to do? Have KO turn on Cody and put them in Hell in a Cell? Or have Orton turn on Cody and put him Hell in a Cell? Like, that's the one thing that that's the only match I can see it being in. And Bad Blood, to me, has to have Hell in a Cell. To me,
they should have a street.
And Karun, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, they should have a street fight out in Michaels while what Karun is saying while AJ Lee's doing the bracelet for him, and just duke it out everywhere, bro. And you're right.
That's
man.
How long the match should last until she finishes the bracelet. And then whoever's still standing when she finishes the bracelet gets the bracelet.
Yeah, because it will make such impactful moment because either she gives it back to her husband or she turns on her husband and gives it to Drew McIntyre. Now that would be spontaneous. That would be amazing. Karun with the ideas here. I will say this, man. The CM Punk getting beat up twice and being sent in an ambulance, man. Like, come on, man. Like, he hasn't done
but
that
also,
to Drew McIntyre.
This one was worked out kind of the way that he did McIntyre at WrestleMania. McIntyre swept his legs. He hits the table.
Yeah.
And then, it went a little bit further than what he did for McIntyre, but also Damian came out and cashed in. So, but it's going to be very interesting to see again. Now, you have the whole month of September. October 5th is the pay-per-view. You have 4 weeks. And that's kind of why I feel like that went so over the top, was now CM Punk will be out for the next 2 Raws, maybe.
Yeah.
Raw and a half. And then you bring him back right before, and then you build up 1 week, 2 weeks, and you're into Bad Blood. It kind of takes him off of TV for a couple shows, and that's just the way it happens. I mean, it just doesn't make sense if you have CM Punk and Drew McIntyre on the show after all that's one of the things I say too, is like, with the animosity that was between them, why are they waiting till the bell rings? Why are you waiting for the referee to signal the bell? Like, no, let's go. I did like the fact that he started attacking them outside at the pay-per-view, and then I like that stuff because then at least it makes it make sense. Because, like, I've been talking crap about you this whole time leading up. I'm going to let you come in and do your whole entrance and stand on the rope and do everything to the crowd and not do anything. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Let's turn a little bit the page here and let's talk about that soft ass Kevin Owens, bro. And Cody Rhodes, man.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing there. I don't know what.
Why are they making Kevin Owens so soft? It's so stupid.
I feel like it's setting up for the turn. Like, I feel like it's set for a turn, but I just don't know, man.
I'm so mad with that, bro.
I just don't like when he went at the end. I honestly was waiting for him just to kick him in the nuts.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, what is going on here? And he's
how
like,
can you?
And then Cody goes to raise his hand. And he's like, no, I raise your hand. Like,
what is this? Is this AEW all over again? Are you giving kudos to people for the hell of it? Get out of here, bro. No way, man.
Trophy.
Get out of here.
I just don't know where. And again, like I said, this was a safe pay-per-view. And it was showing, it elevated your champions a little bit. They beat named opponents, but it wasn't going to be like a brawl. And it wasn't somebody where you could look at and go, my question now is, who does Cody verse at Bad Blood? Gunther. Last night it comes out, it's Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's going to get the match next. Like, that's where I'm kind of like confused at. You know, I don't mind that Sami gets them, but I want it to mean something, like somewhere out of something.
Like you're at a high rise in the roller coaster and you go all the way down. You go up against Randy Orton, and then now all of a sudden you're gonna go against Sami Zayn. Like, come on, man. What is that? If anything, you should have given him Sami Zayn first and then given him Randy Orton if that's what you wanted to do. Don't give him that.
Because I think what they wanted was Gunther to get that rub from Orton in his hometown. That was all about Gunther there.
Now,
and it was like, okay, here you go.
No Doubt says, why can't we just be happy they are friends? You want to know why we can't just be happy that they are friends? Because when two friends fight and you start taking jabs at each other, you get into arguments and there's beef. That's what happens. You had KO a couple of times. They showed where KO was going to hit him with a chair, and then Cody called him out on it. Right? On SmackDown. Same thing. And then not only that, but KO then pretty much threw Cody Rhodes under the bus saying, hey, look, your knee, the whole situation with your knee and all that stuff, you have animosity between the two. Why are you?
And then he goes after the knee, but then he stops himself.
It's like, yes. What is that? It's like me going to Sean and saying, you know what, Sean, the University of Miami, the University. Oh, you know what, University of Miami, you know what, Sean, let me give you a hug, man. You deserve it. You guys are so great. No, there is animosity between me and the Canes. So I'm not going to go ahead and bow down. And if you notice, I started the show by saying,
you got to bow down. I mean, your team got their ass kicked. I
don't give a damn. I'm not soft like KO. I'm not going to give in. I'm sorry. I'm not.
Even if the score is, 41-17. Huh?
The only hard thing about KO right now, the only thing that is his music, his intro music, which is always badass. But besides that, he's soft. They should change him.
I mean, he's like the Florida Gators of the WWE right now.
Wow. That was uncalled for. Okay. Don't.
We're going to have to bring back Kaz and Enzo, right? SAWFT. Soft. Gators.
You know what? Just like the University of Miami and Cody Rhodes, they will all lose at one point in time. So, just a given. Anyways.
I don't know who Cody's losing to, but all right.
I don't like KO being so like, hey, rah, cheer, all this crap. Sorry, bro. Get rid of that character.
Also, supposedly from Wrestling Observer Live, Odyssey Jones has been fired from WWE.
Oh, how dare they do that to us?
Well, if what
the allegations, he didn't do it.
If the allegations are true,
he didn't do it.
I don't know, man.
He didn't do it. Odyssey Jones, why? Why you did it, man? I wanted you to be part of the New Day.
Oh my goodness. That makes it even worse, right? Like they brought him in with the New Day, and it's like now you get this whole. It's like, oh boy.
And they, they were so quiet about it. They were like, "Yo, let's remove him from the roster.
Yeah, let's just take him.
Take him out."
All of a sudden, it's like, wait, where'd Odyssey Jones go? Huh?
Look, okay, Josh, I'm not crying because of the Gators and your Seminoles. First, let me get it correct. My Gators are correct. My Seminoles are number 2. Look. You want to know something? It's very simple. It was predictable. It was predictable. Just like
it was predictable. The Canes were going to beat the Gators. Everything on Saturday was predictable.
And just like the reaction that the fans had, that they didn't like it, is the same thing as the reaction with the Canes.
But also, you know what? You know what the funny thing about this is the Gators did it in front of their home crowd. right? They said, hey, we're just going to drop a whole turd right here in the swamp. All right. WWE went overseas to where they knew the crowd would chant for 2 ants wrestling in the ring and said, hey, here's our little poop. And that's what they did, a poop-poofy. Although, listen, the same thing I say about like the wrestling inside, it just didn't have any stories that where it was like, and then honestly, I don't feel that they ran, the only story that continued was Judgment Day. Gunther shows up and then it's Sami Zayn. There's no more Orton.
Well,
I would have at least had Orton. If you're going to do the thing where Orton shakes his hand in the ring and do all that stuff, have Orton on Raw the next night, call him out, and make it mean something more. Then Orton leaves, and then it's Sammy's music.
100%.
Or something. 100%. It's like you bring him out now, and it's like.
And I was on X, and I was reading the tweets there. This was one of Randy's best performances. He lost. And then he gave kudos to Gunther. I don't need
the two things that I will say about these matches were they reminded me more of your old school championship matches where it was wrestling and again, that's where I think that they went with these because of the crowd that they had over there in Berlin. The Germany crowd, as Walter, Gunther, whatever you want to call them, they're about the wrestling moves, hold to hold. It's a different style over there. It's not the high fly. They have high flyers. Don't get me wrong. But again, the foundation of the wrestling are your Gunthers, Kaiser, those guys. And then you'll have your Will Ospreays here, which stand out because they're different. But then you have your guys like Walter, who is the elite of the grapplers or hold the hold, however you want to do it. And that is why, to me, again, people say that was that's probably one of his better matches recently, just for the fact that they went, hold to hold and told such a good story through the whole match. Was it one of his like most memorable matches? No. But to date, it probably, especially since his return and stuff, it was probably one of his better matches that he's had. Bell to bell.
I guess.
I'm not using the storyline or anything like that.
WWE is not where the best wrestle.
Bell to bell, it was a good, old school style of match where it was hold to hold, you break a hold, you get to a thing and everything there. Are you saying the Germans got excited by the chokeout? Yes. That is Gunther's move. Always has been. Even when he was Walter, it was the sleeper hold. When he was 300 and something pounds. If you saw the difference between Walter and Gunther, that is amazing.
Did you like the fact that he choked them out?
I like that it was a clear-cut result. I didn't want to have the match that they had where was it shoulder up or down and then this match not be a quick roll up, because then you run it back. You have the opportunity to run it back. This ends it. He choked Randy Orton out. Done. You can't bring Orton back to say, you didn't beat me fair and square. No, it's done. The first one, you can say that. This one was a clear-cut winner. Gunther got the better of you on that night. Now, if you want to make a story out of that, you can do that, but you can't come back and say, oh, you didn't beat me. No, he beat you.
Yes and no. I didn't like the choke out. I think he should have. I get the fact that he choked them out, and I guess the Germans were all over it. I wasn't.
But you also can't do his finish on. It's the power slam. It's the power bombs. You're gonna power bomb Randy.
It's very simple. You choke him out, and then Randy Orton, right before he's knocked out, they, you know how they always picked up his arm and then you drop it, you pick up his arm, drop it.
Well, they did one time with the sleeper, and then he went to the whatever the hell that thing where he just hooked him with just.
Okay, so what he should have done is that they should have raised his hand once, raised his hand twice, and then in the third one, Randy Orton shows the strength that he's available.
There's no more three. It's one hits the ground, ring the bell. There's no more threes anymore.
Okay, so whatever. So they do one.
They've done away with that, like the ranking systems, like the Florida Gators offense, whatever else we got. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Like UM's national championship hopes in the next couple of weeks. What's gonna happen is
FAMU's coming, baby. FAMU's coming.
What they should have done. Okay, so if it's only one day, he should have gone ahead and they should have brought it back. They should have brought 3. Goddamn it, because I like
just for this PLE, the Randy Orton match. He dropped the arm 3 times because we're gonna use it in the finish, and we want you to know.
Yeah, because especially, I mean, tell me how many times do you end a main event on a choke? Yeah, when does that happen? That barely happens in WWE.
That's what I'm saying. Gunther is a different style of champion.
But I think what they should have done is that they should have done, Randy gets up. Randy's like, no, I'm not giving up. And then as soon as Gunther sees that, he gets pissed off, gets him, throws him on a powerbomb, and then he's out. He's out cold, and he beats him 1, 2, 3. There you go. That's what he does. That's how it should have ended. Not with him choking him, but whatever. If the Germans buy into everything.
If we were not in Germany, maybe you get that finish. But if you saw Randy Orton switch things up and started becoming more of the heel in that match because they were going with Gunther.
Yeah, they were going with Gunther.
Yeah, so he changed it up in the middle and started doing some of the old school Randy Orton heel stuff. And also Gunther was still doing his stuff, but it was working in with everything that they were doing.
I mean, obviously, I wasn't a big fan of that Randy Orton Gunther, but at least it wasn't as soft as Kevin Owens. So I'll say that. I was disgusted with that Kevin Owens performance out there.
All right. So there's our Bash in Berlin. I know you're going to talk NXT tomorrow. So not getting into
we could talk a little bit about NXT because I remember we only go for like about 15 minutes or 20 minutes of NXT. So if you want to talk a little bit about NXT, I wouldn't mind getting your perspective.
Overall thoughts of the NXT. Because I know you guys go a little more in depth, is what I'm saying. I don't want to.
But I went 3-3 on my predictions on NXT. I was I had the feeling Ethan Page was gonna beat Joe Henry. I just could not see Ethan Page lose to Joe Henry, especially since Joe Henry in the previous TNA pay-per-view lost. So I was like, it wouldn't make any sense for Joe Henry to lose in TNA and then win in NXT. Just didn't make any sense.
But I do like the way they did it, though.
Yes, I liked it too.
They keep Henry strong, where Ego had to do his heel stuff to pick up the victory, and you can still bring it back because technically, if the referee was there, then maybe it changes things.
I loved Trick Williams when he went in and he stopped the referee. I love that. That was the best part of the match. When he went in there and he stopped, he's like, no, I'm the referee. I'm the one who's gonna do the count, not a different person. I love that. I think that's they nailed it. When it comes to the other matches, I was a little bit surprised that Chase, you lost. I mean, for them to win the tag team belts and then just lose them again, I thought they were trying to split Axiom and Nathan Frazier, so I'm a little bit surprised about that.
I think that's why they did that.
Why?
Because now you think that Nathan Frazier and Axiom are back on terms, and then they'll end up turning on each other.
Yeah, but dude, I think you were writing good. But then they had to turn on freaking Rich Holland. Rich Holland turned on Chase U. Yeah. That, like, come on, man. And Rich Holland was good for Chase U. I wasn't too happy about that. I like the spontaneous thing about Nathan Frazier and Axiom winning. I guess I wasn't predicting that, but Rich Holland doing that on Chase U. Okay, cool. I guess I thought he was a perfect fit. I don't know where it sucks for Rich Holland. I don't know how much the WWE wrestlers get as much to say in their character and their storytelling. If I was Rich Holland, I would have preached or at least tried to vouch for me to stay with Chase U. I think his character has blossomed.
I think Ridge is going to the main roster, is what's going to happen.
That sucks, man.
I think that's what you're going to ultimately see is him go up, I believe. Because what will happen is he'll feud maybe a couple of weeks with Chase U for a little bit. He'll probably go to the next pay-per-view. He'll lose like a match, and you'll see him elevated up to the roster.
Yeah.
I think he was just down there to find himself. Because I think he lost a lot of the confidence and things because, one, he was in that whole thing, and then also I think the Big E injury messed with him.
But check this out. That's a mistake by WWE, in my opinion, because I'll give you a perfect example. Where's Baron Corbin again? He was doing so well in NXT as the tag team champion with this guy.
Yeah, but the other thing is,
Ron
too,
Breaker.
you can't just keep guys down there because you only have so much TV time.
I understand that,
And it works the same way when you get them to the main roster too. I get what you're saying as well. They kind of get lost, but you got to get lost somewhere. Like you're going to end up like, to me, it says we think Rich Holland has the talent, but we think others might have more capabilities on the main roster. So they're going to give them the TV time on NXT is what's going to happen.
I don't know, Sean. I think I think if I was in WWE and they tell me, Frankie, you're not doing so well in SmackDown, or if I'm in Raw, whichever one, and then they say, we're going to send you to NXT. And then I start doing really, really well in NXT. I'm going to vouch for me to stay in NXT. I mean, now obviously pay might be
this. Let me ask you this: if you're going to stay there, then you need to get paid like the NXT talent. Are you doing that?
You're telling me that Trick Williams and Roxanne and all those guys are not making decent money? They're making good money there.
They haven't been at the main roster and then moved back down.
Is Rich Holland making more money than Trick Williams and Roxanne Perez, in your opinion?
And by a lot. Main roster, you're making a lot more money if you have a main roster contract. Although Roxanne and Trick probably are making more money than normal, more money than what the average NXT is making.
And Rich Holland is not like, he wasn't like huge in the main roster. He was good, but he wasn't like huge. So I don't think they would have paid him an arm and a leg to keep him. And now when Becky went down there,
if you go to the main roster, usually it's about 150 minimum.
I'm pretty sure he's probably making 150, and he's probably.
I think you're not giving them that to wrestle at NXT.
Why not?
At NXT, it's training and then wrestling on the one time. Like you're working in. If you're working then if you're or things like that. But if you're telling me you're a main roster, if I'm going to pay you like you're on the main roster, they're keeping Roxanne there to be the face in the women's division. Trick is there right now because they need him there with ego, and that's your top, echelon of talent there. They're there for a reason. It's not because they can't handle it and got to come back down.
Well, then they got to do. They shouldn't made the Rich Holland turn so quickly. They could have invested on Rich Holland, maybe doing some, or maybe they still have the chance of doing it where they use them both in the main roster and in NXT, kind of like what they were using this guy. Butch, what's his name?
Butch is still there. I mean, he's there tonight. He's taking on Trick tonight, I think.
Yeah, he is.
So,
but he goes by, what's his real name now? What's his wrestling name? Pete Dunne. There you go. I always keep forgetting his real name. But I think they could do that.
That's fine. I just think that they're trying to figure something else out for him. And the problem too is when you do like your Chase U, you have 3 or 4 talents, and if you throw in Thea Hale, or was it Thea Hale?
Yeah, Thea
Hale in there. Now you've got 5 talents in that one group. Sometimes it gets the numbers game. It's like, okay, that's why, like, I think what's his name must have been nursing an injury, because to me,
Duke?
Yeah.
Duke Hudson?
Yeah. Because
I think they should have done a turn with him. I think he should have left Chase U and made Duke Hudson go against Rich Holland.
Duke and Ridge with Andre Chase being like the manager mouthpiece to me. Like that's the tag team right there. You got those 2 guys. That should be your team representing Chase U.
Let me ask you something. Now that we're talking about this, and again, we don't talk too much about NXT. Do you ever think Chase U will make it to the main roster? Because I don't think they will.
No, I think it's a good thing for NXT crowds. I don't think it'll turn over to. Again, I think the WWE main crowd is not conditioned to what the NXT crowd is conditioned to.
Although they had a pretty good.
Well, no, but that's an NXT because they know Chase U's coming. If you look at the Saturday shows when NXT does them when they did the Saturday morning at like WrestleMania.
Yes.
And they do the ones where they're kind of in the same area. You'll see that the Chase U does pretty good when they're on there. But I don't know if it'll turn over to the Raw crowd because it's almost to me like what Alpha Academy is or was, but to another thing, because you have to have them out there, the U's and all this stuff. If you think you can get that, I mean, maybe merchandise wise, You know, you put the two thumbs together and they hold up the Chase U, but I just don't know if it sticks.
Yeah, I don't think it sticks in the main roster
because it's that perfect. And I don't want to say this the way it's going to come out, but it's that smaller show feel. Chase U. They got a smaller feel to them than a main roster. It's like perfect for NXT. It is perfect for NXT or a TNA. Like those, I believe those audiences, it would be good for.
But sometimes those things will work.
TNA. I don't see why Chase U didn't go to TNA and win that.
But sometimes those little small gimmicks can work, because when it was the Brutes in SmackDown, it wasn't like a fun and dandy. Like they were okay, but they weren't getting over either. I think that's the reason why they eventually broke them. The Brutes.
Well, I think they were getting over when Sheamus was there. When Sheamus got hurt, it blew it up because Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland don't have the charisma or the relatability of what Sheamus has. Now all of a sudden it's just Pete Dunne or it's Butch and Holland. Like it's like, okay.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying. Like if I was Ridge Holland, I would have at least vouched to stay in NXT. I think he's not making tons of money for him to be like.
And by the way, I'm not saying that they are moving up. I feel like they're saying, look, when you go to the main roster, you're going to be a heel. So let's turn you now to where you start getting that, what we're trying to gear you for the main roster. Something changed there because I wouldn't have done anything, or like you said, I would have changed Duke.
Yeah, try something different.
If you're going to do that, because that's the one who kind of always seemed like he was going to be the one to pull the turn. But like I almost feel like they're saying, okay, we're thinking about bringing Holland back up, but he's going to be a heel on the main roster. So let's see how he does.
Well, aren't they bringing
here?
Aren't they bringing the guy from Gunter Squad? Not Luther Kaiser, but the other guy, Da Vinci. Da
Vinci's back as well. Yeah, he's back.
They're bringing him back.
He's on SmackDown though.
Yeah, they were previewing him like, hey, he's making his return or something like that.
Yeah, he's doing a whole nother gimmick. Like he distanced himself from. That's why they kept him off TV for so long, so you can kind of forget him.
I thought they let him go. I thought they had let him go.
No. They said they were going to keep him off TV for a little while because of, I don't know if it was an injury that he had or something, but as they were doing that, they wanted distanced him from Kaiser and Imperium.
And then the other thing was the other thing on the NXT was Obafemi won. He beat Tony D'Angelo.
Yeah.
I read that Tony D'Angelo got injured in that match. So I think that was one of the reasons why as well. I would have wanted I had Tony D'Angelo winning. I think Obafemi has proven to himself that he doesn't need the North American belt in order to be successful in NXT. I honestly feel that he's probably one of the next guys to move up from NXT to the main roster.
Here's my problem with that. I don't know that. Like my worry for Obafemi going up to the main roster is, where does he go? Where does he fit in? What do they do with him?
Bro, he's perfect. He'll take the spot of Odyssey Jones. Works perfect.
Him at New Day dancing?
Yeah, that would be like a completely different character for Obafemi.
Yeah, if I see him come in as New Day's like muscle or something, it'd be like New Day's dancing, he's just behind him.
That'll be funny.
It might work actually if they do that. That would not be a bad thing. You got them two being all crazy and doing all this stuff, and then people come to corner them and they kind of go behind Obafemi, and Obafemi's just like,
but look, man,
I agree with you. He deserves that. My worry then is like
you could put him against a Cody Rhodes.
It's
a perfect match for Cody, and Cody beats him because you don't expect him to win, but you get to see what Obafemi can hang with Cody, and you could see where he goes from there. But again, it's tricky because he also reminds me of like an Omos type of character as well, where you don't have. He's supposed to he's like the Omos in NXT. Like
I feel like he's an attraction though, and I know I say that a lot. Like it's like he doesn't need it. Like I didn't think that they would put a title on him, because now how do you get the title off of him? Who beats him?
That's why I thought Tony D'Angelo was good.
Well, I thought every time they do a triple threat with him, I'm like, oh, here's where he's dropping the title because he doesn't have to get pinned. And I honestly thought that the Wes Lee one, I was like, oh, they're going to get back to Wes Lee.
I was so shocked about that
He
one.
never had the title. He never lost it. And then Obafemi took himself out of the match. And I'm like, oh, here we go. And then, no, Obafemi kept it. And I was kind of like, oh, okay. Did not see that happening, but okay.
And then Wes Lee winning on No Mercy, his match. I mean, Wes Lee losing his match. That was a little bit of a shocker. I didn't expect that. But I guess that's a kind of like a tap on the shoulder for TNA. Be like, hey, look, we're going to give you guys a win here. So I was a little bit surprised about that one.
Yeah, I think it was good with that. I thought it would be a little bit more because to me, he beat him pretty clean cut.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it would have been more of a roll up. Maybe he rolled him one way, it rolled back the other way, 1, 2, 3, and then Wesley could jump him a little bit or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it was a clear victory. It wasn't like one to where all of a sudden Wesley shows up on X, for an TNA X division shot and be like, hey, you barely beat me.
But I think where they're going with Zachary Wentz and obviously the Rascals is that they're gonna go with eventually going up against Axiom and Nathan Frazier.
Yeah, it looked that way.
But again, the crazy thing, and I know you guys, I don't know if you guys tune in a lot to NXT. The crazy thing is, and this is what you guys need to realize: will NXT or WWE allow a TNA wrestler to win an NXT belt? That's the biggest question. Because for me, it's I don't know
this. I know two people right now, Josh Alexander and Joe Hendry, are working out at the PC with the NXT because they live in the area or whatever, or they moved to the area and now they're training there when they're not on the road with TNA. So, ultimately, I think what's going to end up happening is I think there's going to be a deal laid out to where, maybe Joe Hendry's contract's coming up. Nobody realizes it. He signs to WWE.
Oh, an AEW Tony Khan type of move?
Well, no, but I think there's going to be an agreement made with WWE and TNA. This is where I think the working thing's going to work, to where maybe it's announced that he extended with TNA, but he really signs with WWE. And then all of a sudden he becomes NXT champion. And you're like, what? They put it on a TNA guy? And really he's under a WWE deal?
The problem is that they have him fight a lot in the TNA world and in the main matches. In the matches that he has on TNA, he wins. The problem with Joe Hendry is like on the live events, the live pay-per-view events that they have over there, he's been losing. So it's like, can you technically, are you gonna get him over in NXT but not get him over in TNA? And now I watch him in TNA. That guy, I started watching TNA.
Yeah, but I don't think that he has to. He's that guy that he can lose, and it doesn't hurt him. It doesn't hurt him.
But this is the thing, Sean. He is wrestling a lot, dude. He is wrestling a lot. He's wrestling in NXT a lot. He's wrestling in TNA. I mean, he's reminding me a lot of MJF. That's what he's reminding me. I'm afraid that guy's gonna get hurt eventually. Well, hopefully not.
He doesn't really do a lot. I mean, he does a couple of things, but nothing. And that's the same thing with MJF.
Well, he dove himself a couple of times. But
the dives are a little more control. Again, if you know how to do it and you control your feet. The thing I could never do a dive with is because I didn't control my feet. So I'd hit the ropes or I'd clip something and then go down. You see it every once in a while. But those guys have done it over and over. They understand, how to do it. It's not really necessarily a, high risk maneuver for them at that point, to where, like, if it's me or you doing it, we're going to probably crash and burn and be out for 3 months with a separated shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be it'll be more of a loss than the Gators this Saturday.
Yeah, or a future UM loss.
Oh, maybe. I'm sure there's going to be a few more Gator losses coming.
All right. So let's talk a little bit back into the Monday night, right? Because you keep referencing UM here. Chad Gable and his crew
fought out for the street fight
versus the White Sixer. First and foremost, I was pissed at this guy Dallas. I couldn't understand what he was saying when he was talking.
They didn't have his mic up loud enough. It was real
Yeah,
low to where
it
he
was.
was like,
Did you understand? Did you get that as
no,
well?
no. I actually I waited till like some people on X posted, and they usually put the quotations, and then they say what he says. Then I listened to it again to see if I heard the same thing. I couldn't really make everything out, but I was also back and forth watching FSU get their ass kicked as well. So,
Oh my God. What is up? See, this is the reason why we can't talk college football, because now you and UM wins. Because now you get your high hopes. Look at that. Already taking shots at UF, taking shots at FSU, and you're going to do it all show long. And not to mention that you want me to wear a cheerleader outfit for the University of Miami. You're smoking
a male cheerleading outfit.
Well, at least you're giving me a little bit of.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put you. Come on, I'm putting you in a skirt and pom poms, man.
I want to be surprised. I want to be surprised if you try to do something.
I was trying to. They're too expensive though. I can't afford them. Cheerleading outfits are a little
super chat us. Hey guys, give us a super chat here.
A lot of cotton.
All right, how about this? If the fans, okay, we'll do this. I'll do this for you guys.
Oh goodness gracious, here we go. All I wanted you to do was to put up a U. All you had to do was put up a U.
No,
and it's all done.
All right,
it's all done.
You guys,
the way out.
If you guys want,
because the Canes didn't score just one, not two, not three, not four. I believe 5 times they scored in the swamp.
If you want Frankie Frezko to dress up to some stupid, ridiculous costume of Sean's choice,
or do you want Frankie just do a U?
Send a super chat or send a Venmo or Cash App or anything like that. Put it down the scroll it down on the thing, Sean, for them, and then just tell us what you would want Frankie Frezko to wear. If you want me to wear a cheerleader outfit, Jesus Christ, I don't know if I would wear it. Man, damn, that would be so embarrassing. Jesus Christ, don't put that on the wheel of death.
Yeah.
Don't put cheerleader outfit of or something like that. Don't do that.
You have to dress up as a cheerleader of your favorite wrestler. Goth Undertaker.
All right, so going back to the White Six.
Yes.
Do you like that? Do you like that they're going to show that match again on a Monday Night Raw?
I mean, here's the problem, man. It's the same thing I say with Judgment Day and Damian Priest.
Sorry, Sean. Alexa, that's not funny. Okay, that's not funny.
Well, Josh said wear an Elmo costume.
Yeah.
Says Elmo.
Yeah. You guys are not funny. Alexa and Josh, I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate it.
That's funny.
See, I can't even do that. But you making it seem like I look like Elmo. You making it seem like I look like Elmo. I do not.
Oh boy, paint you red.
Oh Lord. All right, so talk to me. What's going on?
I feel like it's the same stance as when you look at the Damian Priest Judgment Day thing. Right? We've seen it. We've been there. If they would have beat the Creed brothers, then you can keep it going. But you pin Chad Gable every damn time. So why does it doesn't make sense to me anymore. I get it that's the feud, but like it's ran its course to me.
That's the right term. That's the right catchphrase right there. They've been running its course with a lot of these stories. The whole Damian Priest, Judgment Day, now this Wyatt Six, the whole CM Punk, all of them already ran its course. I don't
think the CM Punk one has ran its course. I think the bracelet has ran its course. The bracelet is done. I mean, what are we going to do now? Is CM Punk going to be, you're going to show like a behind the scenes of WWE and it's Punk going back to the arena, finding every little, there's the L for Larry. Oh, there's the A, the R. I'm missing an R. I can't spell Larry. Like, I mean, what are we doing? I don't understand. Like, again, the bracelet, the feud doesn't need anything. It didn't need a belt, didn't need a Rollins, it didn't need the bracelet.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna buy a bracelet. I'm gonna put the University of Miami on the bracelet, and then I'm gonna rip the bracelet and throw it against the camera. That's what I'm gonna do.
Well, that'll be the only time the Gators beat the Canes this year.
Good one. I like it. We're taking shots. I like it. That was a good one. You got me there. Wow, you got me there. That's a good one. Good one, sir. Oh, you're gonna do it? Oh, damn it! I'm telling you, I'll throw the U once they lose.
All right. You want to jump over to AEW now, or
do we have to?
Yeah, we do in a way, because there's some things I want to talk about, man. And again, I know this is going to sound like we're going to be poo-pooing on AEW and everything, but the turnstile numbers have come out.
All right, let me hear.
AEW All In.
All right, let's some positivity here. Let's go.
Last year, we'll go with last year's number first, 72,265. This year, 46,476. WrestleTix, which is like a site that goes through all the numbers, had sales and comps at 53,385. TK said over 50,000 tickets were sold. The number at the turnstile was 46,476. And that's from the council of Wembley, like Brent. It's called Brent Council, I guess, is like the ones that put out the numbers. So, again, good numbers. If you're wrestling in front of 46,000 people, that's a pretty damn good show.
Yeah.
But again, it went down from the year before, which to me is a troubling sign. And I don't mean troubling like, oh, AEW's in trouble, they're going out of business, but it's also going along with all the other numbers that are just staying kind of stagnant at the 690 number. No matter what kind of dynamite you put on, and I think they put on some good damn dynamites recently, you're still at 691, 693. That's your number that you're staying at. You put on a great all-in last year, and now between then and now, you're almost 30,000, 27,000 tickets lower. And I get it. You can say, oh, well, they couldn't make the whole stadium this time because of Taylor Swift and everything. Do you know how bad it would have looked if they did do the whole stadium?
Yeah, it would have looked bad. But I like the idea that they sold less tickets, that they offered.
No, I think it looked great I thought it looked great, man. We talked about it. The production was probably the best I'd seen from AEW. The troubling part to me is that everything seems to be going down. And I don't mean that it's going down to where, oh, TK, pack up and leave. No, but something hasn't been resonating that you've been doing with the crowd.
Yes and no.
Dude, okay, let me ask you this. If WrestleTix is saying 53,385 tickets were sold and comped, that means 7,000 people that either bought tickets or were giving tickets didn't even show up.
We should have gotten tickets, goddammit.
I mean,
we should have gotten tickets. I would have gone. We would have made a trip all the way to Wembley.
I would have done it, yeah.
Tony, how about the thing is that we bash so much AEW that they wouldn't give us free tickets for that reason.
I think they would, man. Look, we always tell them it's not well, actually we kind of do just kind of pick on TK, I guess, because
do we got the amount of buys they had on pay-per-view?
I have not seen that number yet. No.
Okay. What about,
and with everything that they do, I don't know if we'll ever get that number, a straight number.
What about Dynamite's numbers, viewership? Did see an increase at least?
No, it went down, I believe.
Oh my god! So then you're right, bro. It's terrible. I did see that Josh Hulk Hogan did sign a 5-year deal with WWE. I did see that.
Yeah, they're signing a lot of Legends deals. They signed Victoria. They're signing a lot of Legends deals, which I don't know necessarily that they're just trying to make sure, I think, they don't show up on, not that Victoria will, but on the other show. I think.
You know what? No doubt you're right. Loyalty can be bought. AEW, send them free tickets. You dead right. If you give us free tickets, Tony Khan will start talking really well about AEW. At least you'll get that from Frankie Frezko.
Yeah, because this is the guy. He likes the Gators too, TK. Hey.
Sir, don't get your high hopes. UM will lose. All
right, so let's see. AEW Dynamo. Sorry, I was going through 691.
So they kind of did the same as the week before. They didn't say an increase.
You know what the worst part about it was? I think they went over a couple minutes because the overrun wasn't 9 minutes.
Mm.
The overrun was only like 3 or 4 minutes, and it only did a 6:29. That is the Bryan Danielson Jack Perry spot. They're saying it dropped to 6:29. It dropped 8% during that one, but they have it being from 10 to 10:09. I don't believe it was that long. I don't remember. I can't tell you 100%. But
look, I'm gonna tell you something. I think if the only way AEW is gonna get fan base to tune in, man, is they need a heavy hitter. They need somebody like a Roman Reigns
this week, though. I like what they did this week. John Moxley opens up the show. He comes out and he says to Tony Schiavone, "This is not your company anymore."
Was that was he taking shots at Tony Schiavone, or was that reference to somebody else?
I don't know,
because it was that full.
This is the entry, and then later on in the show, he's in the back, and then Marina Shafir, which is Roddy Strong's wife, ends up becoming his second. And if you remember, she was in NXT. Moxley has been in WWE. I'm wondering, are we starting to see
Shane O'Mac,
or something else? I mean, again, something else, but they're forming this alliance of, it's something different. It's something to make you think, at least, because everybody was like, "Well, where's Moxley been? You haven't heard anything about him." All of a sudden, 100%. Boom, there he is. Same thing with Daniel Garcia, right? But he showed up at the pay-per-view. And then he also showed up this week and went after, MJF again on Dynamite. So at least they're getting some freshness into it. And then also like, oh, what the hell is this all about? And I did even also like the Jack Perry. Do I think he stands a chance against Bryan Danielson as his first opponent? No. But if he can go in there and make a great showing, you elevate Jack Perry by losing to Bryan Danielson, as long as it's not a thing. After he just convincingly beat Darby Allin, he makes him a formidable opponent for Bryan Danielson. So at least it's not like Jack Perry loses to Darby in a coffin match and all of a sudden he's showing up to challenge Bryan Danielson. So, again, I don't have an issue with that. At least they are making it stories.
All right,
so Hangman and you have Swerve, there's a lot of things, at least intriguing wise, and I feel like they've been more intriguing wise than what I've seen recently from Raw and then also SmackDown on the Bash in Berlin build. There wasn't a lot of intrigue because Roman wasn't around, he did the one, but then as he got closer to Bash in Berlin, he wasn't going to be on the card, so he wasn't the focus. Now we'll see this SmackDown, how it plays back out. And then also the last one was the celebration of Sika, which was one why they weren't in, but also I don't think they sent them to Germany just to for a SmackDown when they weren't on the pay-per-view anyways. But, we'll see where it goes. I feel like there's more intrigue right now in AEW than there is right now in WWE.
There is more intrigue in AEW than in WWE. I do agree with that. And remember, what is it? All Out? It's this Saturday, this Sunday, right?
You're right. Saturday.
It's Saturday.
Yeah,
so I don't know. I don't know if you want to do the picks today or you want to hold off. Maybe we could do it.
Tell me your schedule, buddy, because you are more
Friday. Friday we have SmackDown and we have
I'll do the SmackDown reaction show. If you want to jump on, then we can do the picks then.
You know what? We'll jump on the.
I don't even know what the matches are yet. I don't even know.
I have them up. I have 4 matches.
What do they have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches. So the first match, the AEW World Championship, Bryan Danielson versus Jack Perry. The TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné versus Hikaru Shida.
Oh, that was just from the Collision, right? They did
Correct.
that. Okay.
The International Championship, Will Ospreay versus Pac.
Okay.
A steel cage match between Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page.
Okay.
A Chicago street fight between Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. And then MJF versus Danny Garcia.
Wow, yeah, I guess I knew all those. I was wondering, I was like, wait, which match? Yeah. The only one
But
I
remember,
wasn't aware of was the Hikaru Shida because I forgot to
1,
watch
2, 3,
Collision.
4, 5, 6. There's 6 matches, so
Yeah, so
just
there's
keep
got to
in
be at
mind.
least 7 more added.
Exactly. We got to find 7 more.
Plus
So
the 0 hour. I mean,
can't forget the 0 hour.
yeah,
Now let me ask you this, because I don't know if you heard this, but apparently, what's his name? Nigel McGuinness. We were hyping him up. We were saying, hey, Nigel McGuinness, great surprise at All In when he came in and fought. He's now thinking about wrestling in AEW. What do you think about that?
I like it as long as they use them right. I mean, I know one of the big matches a lot of people wanted to see back in the day, or I think it happened once, maybe twice, but it was McGuinness against Danielson was one of the big matches that people wanted to see. I don't know if it ever happened or if everything didn't align at the time. So that's and then they did have their little. There's been a lot of, he's done a lot of things with Danielson, poking things everywhere. Adam, look, Nigel McGuinness is, again, from the European style to where it's a lot of hold, like Zack Sabre Jr. Style stuff like Gunther. And I'd like to see it. I'd like to see him in AEW. Again, is he going to be a champion? I don't think so, but it'd be good to see him against some of those guys. And you could make things interesting because of his time away, and then you could make him go on a run to where, and let him go out on his own terms. He deserves that.
I think with Nigel McGuinness, if you start building him up, they announced it on the All In pay-per-view that they were gonna go back to London.
Yeah.
For another fight, I forgot which event.
I believe it's Grand Slam. No, the Grand Slam's Australia.
There was another one.
All In is Dallas, and then what did they get? They got the other one.
Not Slammery or anything like that, right?
No.
Well, again, it's for an event obviously for next year. So if they do it correctly, I would assume the right move for AEW is to build up Nigel McGuinness to the point where when that event comes up, that's one of your matches for that pay-per-view, which would be Nigel McGuinness versus Bryan Danielson. I don't know if it would be Bryan Danielson.
See how the Danielson thing, because again, he said he's not done, but when he loses the title, he's done.
Correct.
Which I don't understand this, because he also said he needs surgery. So does he keep the title when he goes to get surgery? Does he lose the title and he's done anyways? And then he comes back after surgery to wrestle, which he says, when I lose the title, I'm done. Like, I feel like they again, this is what they kind of do, where they paint themselves in the corner by what they say and then what happens. Because again, Pac won the match saying, hey, I'm going to Wembley, I'm getting All In. And then it's like, no, really, you're actually getting All Out. And then it was painted to be like, well, I'm going to get my All In moment. And he ends up pieced together with Claudio and them to win the 6-man, the trios titles. So sometimes I feel like they have an idea of what they want to do, but they end up making it so concrete. There's no wiggle room to go either way.
Yeah.
Because you said, look, when I lose the title, I'm done. But then you also say, I need surgery. So what are you
going to get? Yeah, what are you going to get from Bryan Danielson?
Yeah.
I will say this too. I was happy, and I know we spoke about this last week, that they did announce that they were going to Australia, because that's Tony Storm's hometown. So
she was there this week actually.
So it should build up. That means that Tony Storm will be still, hopefully they keep Timeless Tony. And that
gives you 4 months, because I believe that's January or February is the Arthur Ashe. Well, it's not Arthur Ashe anymore. It's the Grand Slam, Australia. So
yeah, I think they're happening at the Suncorp Stadium. I think that's the name of the stadium over there. I
believe that's January, February.
I don't remember, but it is for Grand Slam. It's for Grand Slam. And you know what? This is what I wanted to go with you with this. You mentioned that their sales are not working out and all that stuff. Obviously, they had about 72,000 last year, and they dropped to like 46,000 this year. I would be concerned.
That event, February 15th.
Okay, I would be concerned, but I like the strategy that they're going to these other places outside the United States. So they're gonna get a good amount of people for Australia. Hopefully All In turns
Oh,
out to be really well
by the way,
in
it's
Texas.
Forbidden Door London is what it's going to be.
Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
So
No,
I mean, and that's another thing. They're going back to London, but now they're bringing a different pay-per-view in London. So I wouldn't be concerned with their numbers and they're trending downhill unless I start seeing that they start having a hard time selling tickets for these events where they're focusing big things like Grand Slam on Australia,
I think
Forbidden
they're
Door
doing
in
great
London.
by going to the international because that's their audience. That gives their show more energy. Even the WWE show, that's a different WWE show when they're international than when they're in the States. The vibe is totally different.
It is.
And it makes it feel differently. I mean, it does. I mean, even like, look, that pay-per-view, you could have put Cody versus an enhancement talent, and they're probably chanting, "This is awesome," if Cody's hitting a Cody cutter off the top rope.
Yeah.
But that's what you get when you're there. But that's also why you do those shows. I think they need to stay more international with their big shows. I agree 100% with that because I think they saturated Chicago. They saturated Vegas. They saturated New York. Like those were your areas because you had MJF, you had Punk, and Vegas just happened to be like their thing, like their hub to where they always did All In and All Out until London took over. So I think you need to find those new hubs, and I think doing it international, one, puts that vibe on your show that is what you want, because I feel like even the US crowds, even for them, are not what they used to be. The Dynamite crowds are not as loud as what they used to be. All right?
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right, just making sure. Are you seeing? You're seeing Canes, aren't you? That's what happened with Graham Mertz. Now he's walking.
No. I agree with you that they are doing that. I want to see how that that All Out for next year in Texas plans out. I will say this, by them cutting the pay-per-views in here in the States, maybe they'll get a big turnout for those because of
And
that.
they also need to set that up like a WrestleMania. Like it needs to be.
They should.
It needs to be like big.
That's their whole enchilada.
This is also though a problem I think they're going to have though. Now that you've signed Okada, you've signed Will Ospreay, you've signed all these guys now that you see every week on TV. They're not attractions anymore. You've got to find the next attraction, because that's what made those pay-per-views so good, right? All of a sudden, Will Ospreay's coming from New Japan. Okada's showing up from, New Japan. It's guys coming from AAA. It's people you wouldn't see on a normal card in the U.S. And now that they're signed there, you see them every week.
What about Ricochet? Ricochet's
it's going to be interesting to see what they do with him. I thought he had a great debut with Kyle Fletcher.
Yes.
Kyle Fletcher gets rewarded and gets to take on Okada this week now.
Another L for him. Yeah.
Another L. But hey, I'll tell you now though, Kyle Fletcher is showing that he can go.
Oh yeah, he's good.
I mean, he is good. He might not be winning these matches, but he's showing me that he can go.
I mean, Kyle Fletcher reminds me of the University of Miami. They built him up. They think that he's gonna get going. He's gonna win. That people get behind him and everything. Yeah. People get behind UM, and then all of a sudden they fall and they crash. That's what I feel Kyle was gonna happen.
But at least with Kyle Fletcher and the University of Miami, they get to build up. They're just getting buried. Buried in Canesville. We changed the name of the damn town. It's sad.
You didn't change
Canesville
anything.
Turned into Canesville.
Somebody vandalized our area, and they should arrest that person or people.
Vandalized. I mean,
yeah, they spray painted our wall, and they put a whole bunch of Miami crap.
You guys vandalized Ben Hill Griffin Stadium with the trash you put on the field.
Well, you know what? At least we have a stadium on campus. I don't know about the University of Miami. Last time I heard, they haven't had a stadium in their campus.
Oh, that's what we're going to. Okay. All right. Well, at least. Oh, you're right. I mean,
as a matter of fact, you know what?
You got a place to bury the team. Yes, you do.
I mean,
it's
sad.
All that money you've put into that stadium, into those athletic fields, and everything you've done there in Gainesville for the Gators to be as crappy as they are. I mean, kudos, Napier. Kudos.
Oh, don't worry, because the University of Miami,
Kudos.
first and foremost, this is what always happens to teams like the University of Miami. They get excited because they win one significant game. You know what? The University of Miami is like the Miami Dolphins.
I don't even know if the Gators game is.
They're like the Dolphins.
Anymore.
That's what it is. The University of Miami are like the Dolphins. They do well at the beginning, and then they tend to lose at the end. That's what happens. Hopefully, the Dolphins decide to change it up.
We're going to try to say this is a significant game.
You know what? You know what's funny is that a lot of you guys are so excited that you beat Florida because you knew that playing Florida was going to be a tough opponent for you. And unfortunately, we gave you a pass. We decided not to show up. We have a crappy coach. You kind of got us in a downfall year. We have the hardest schedule in the country.
You guys pulled out all the stops, buddy. You had Tebow there. You had football Jesus there. And it didn't even help you.
Well, again, when you have a stadium on campus, you're allowed.
You know what
to
it is? You gave his number to Graham Mertz. Who the hell made that call?
You can't
made the call to put Tebow's number on Mertz?
You can't even bring the greats to UM to the Hard Rock Stadium because they didn't even play in the Hard Rock Stadium. He's playing the Orange Bowl, so it's like you can't even bring them. You can't even bring them. They'll be like, "What? We never played in this field. We never did." And half of your fans, 75% of your fans don't even attend to the game. It's just the bandwagoners who decide to say, "Hey, I live in Miami, so I'm going to cheer for the University of Miami."
Yeah, because you can't afford to go to the University of Miami.
People can't afford to go to the University of Miami. Who wants to go to the University of Miami? Nobody wants to go to the University of Miami.
You're right. Okay. Yes, you're right. Nobody wants to go to the University
of Miami. Come on, man. Shands Hospital is way more better than Jackson Memorial. Let's just keep it real.
No, dude. No.
How dare you guys? How dare you? You guys had Javon there, for God's sakes, the freak. UM fans had your walls. How disrespectful. Yes, no doubt they did. How disrespectful. Let me take him. Oh, okay, yeah.
No doubt is talking. Really? He should just stick to wrestling, no doubt, right this year. Just stick to wrestling right now.
Wow, now you're taking shots. See, no doubt. See, Stephen Gonzalez is a UM fan. See, no doubt. See how they like to talk crap about other teams. But when they're down, when they're getting,
where was No Doubt at? Where was he at?
When they're getting beat down, all of a sudden they turn into ghosts. And typical University of Miami fans.
He said our problems are deep with this team.
You want to know something? As bad as it is, I wouldn't be surprised if Florida State beats you guys.
Oh, look at No Doubt said the two best teams in the ACC are clearly Georgia Tech and Boston College.
Yes, 100%. That was good. I love it. That was good.
That was good shit.
That was good.
That is good, man. Dude, I think, honestly, man, I think the problem with FSU is the quarterback right now. Or the offensive coordinator. I don't know, but it just doesn't feel like that is working at all, man. What have they scored now? They scored what? It was 28-13 this game. And then what was the Georgia Tech? 21-20?
21-24.
24-21. Was it that? Yeah. So, I mean.
Oh, yeah. Javon Curse. Yeah, I remember. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I said Javon Curse, man. Everybody knows the freak.
Yeah, look at the trapio coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
I will tell you this.
And look, I'm not even saying it's got to be Jordan Travis. He's just got to be something better than what the hell he's been so far.
Look. What I will say this. I'm not a fan of the Florida State coach. I've already said that. He doesn't know how to recruit.
He's the anti-Dabo Swinney.
I wouldn't go.
He only builds in the transfer portal. He doesn't recruit. Dabo Swinney only recruits and doesn't go through the transfer portal.
Okay, so you compared it that way. Okay, yes.
No, I'm not saying like coaching wise and all that stuff. I'm just saying their philosophies seem to be the same, opposite actually, as far as the transfer portal and recruiting, but the results are starting to look the same. I saw a thing today, Norvell without like Jordan Travis is like 31-30 or something, 29-20 or so. It's like and then with him he was like 21-9.
like what you said, the problem with Norvell is that he likes to go in the transfer portal. And I was having this conversation earlier in the day with my brother. We'll talk about it tomorrow, and then Let Me Talk to Your podcast, 8 p.m. Tune in, guys. Sorry for the plug there. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna admit that I read this statistic. The Florida State University has not, in the 3 years that Norvell has been there, has not gotten a top 15 recruiting class. And he goes straight to the transfer portal. And what tends to happen is a lot of these guys have played one good season and then they get that, then they leave, so you're going to struggle. And it worked for him last year. This year.
Yeah, but also it worked because some of the main guys were there for more than 1 year, though. Jordan Travis was in his third year. Like, you had guys that had been around the program and then you plugged in the right spots. But now you again, I think if you can keep the quarterback position solid, then you can go from there. That's what always
that's all in football. That's what it is in football. Look at the NFL, man. It's the same thing.
But I mean, it's even more in college because if you don't have that leader there, it falls apart quick, man. Like,
No.
You can see the difference between Cam Ward and Tyler Van Dyke. You can see that.
I'm not going to agree with that. I'm going to say that the biggest difference in college football is the coach. If you have a solid fundamental coach and then the quarterback, then yes.
But I think if you have the talent, you can override the.
That's not true.
Coaching.
Because I'll never forget when the University of Florida had Ron Zook, sorry ass, and Ron Zook would recruit the best freaking players in the world, and they would suck. And
but again, you're going off of numbers by guys that just watch high school players run against talent that might be lesser than them. Like the 4-star, 5-star thing has been the most biggest. Like, it's cool, but also you're getting guys getting NIL deals for being a 5-star, and then they get to college and they can't even play.
Sean, when Urban Meyer won the national championship, about 50%, more than 50% of his players were all recruited by Ron Zook. So it wasn't Urban Meyer. It was the talent was there. He's just the coach didn't have the right fundamentals.
What I'm saying though is I think the talent was so good on those Gator teams. It didn't matter who was coaching them. Me and you could have went out there and coached those.
That's not true because it happened with Ron Zook. Where Ron Zook had those guys, he sucked. He still did not get the wins. That's why they had to get rid of Ron Zook. That's when they brought Urban Meyer, and with the recruits that Ron Zook had brought, he won a national championship. So coaching makes a big difference. Like,
coaching stays out of the way.
We're not gonna see eye to eye.
He stayed out of the way.
He had all the recruits that Ron Zook got and won a championship with them.
Yes.
The only difference between the talent that was there with Ron Zook and the talent that was there with Urban Meyer was the coach. That's it. So whatever Urban Meyer did differently got the job done. Ron Zook wasn't getting the
documentary, and all he did was he brought in a thing, and then he gave the seniors the thing, and they ran with it.
There was more to it, man. I was there.
The players were challenging each other. That's when you make the team, when you make people accountable, and you just see the people doing whatever the hell they want to do, and everybody's together as a team. That changes. That was what Urban Meyer brought that Ron Zook didn't. Urban Meyer brought that like military,
more discipline. Yeah, and that's kind of what's happening with Billy Napier right now.
That guy's benching 300, then I want to bench 320, and then that guy wants to bench 340, and that guy wants to squat 680, and that guy wants to run the ball, and then you have Tebow there who doesn't want to lose, and that becomes the driving point.
That we're really diverting here. Scarlett says Rhodes is not dropping that title until Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. Maybe Rumble against Orton and then face Cena.
I don't think he drops it to anybody other than
Roman Reigns.
Roman or Rock. I think those are the two names that he drops it to because. And again, let me rephrase this. If everybody stays healthy and there's no injuries and knock on wood or anything else crazy happens, I believe the plan is to get it to The Rock or Roman, whatever the story goes, or whenever, The Rock or whatever happens there. Like, I'm very interested to see what they do to try to build back up this bloodline Roman Reigns thing.
I'm very interested as well, man.
Because I don't know what they're going to do now. Because to me, the only one that brings anything is Jacob Fatu.
No, well. No, I agree with Scarlett. I think Randy Orton would be a person who would be able to beat Cody Rhodes, but it would take some time because obviously he just took an L from Gunther. So it would have to take some time before they could build him up. I mean, maybe that kind of hurt Randy Orton, but still, him winning the Royal Rumble would be kind of like a nostalgic.
But no doubt is saying, and what I think Scarlett might have said, I don't think Orton Cena is at Mania. I think Orton Cena is at Royal Rumble.
Do you see Cena coming back that soon?
Yeah, I do. And you know what the interesting thing to me is? Do they let Cena win the Rumble, which would guarantee him a title shot at WrestleMania at one of the titles? That is my interesting point. Because again, he said the only way I will go after a title is if I earn the shot. And the only way he earns a shot is one of two ways. He wrestles every pay-per-view, and then by the time you get to Survivor Series, he's racked up enough wins to where he's earned a title shot heading into his retirement, which I don't think he wins, or he wins the Royal Rumble, earns his title shot, and then goes to WrestleMania.
The issue here is, do you feel that if Cena does not wrestle anytime soon and he's a surprise in the Royal Rumble, wins Royal Rumble, then they give him the belt? Is that technically the right thing to do from the WWE perspective? Because I remember him saying that he would deserve it. So he would have to beat more than one person because he's been in a really bad losing
that's what I said. He said he wanted to earn it. And the only way he can earn it is, like I said, go on a winning streak and go on through. But then he doesn't win the match right before he retired because he said 2025 is it. So you're going to November of 2025, he wins the title to what? Just give it back to somebody else the next day. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think you could run it to where he wins, because here's the other point to this is he's tied with Ric Flair.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where Ric Flair stands with WWE right now.
Is it Randy Orton like maybe one or two wins as well?
This would have tied him with them at 16. It's Cena, Charlotte, and Flair. Well, which is Charlotte Flair, but Ric Flair are tied at 16.
The only way I'm going to be rooted for John Cena is if he comes back as what is it? Word of life or something like that. When he's rapping us, Dog Life, that one.
Economics, baby.
So, I mean, bring that Cena back.
He made the U too. He made the U when he did. Like, it now makes sense. He did the U.
He did not make the U.
He did. He held him up. He bring him together. The U. Look at that big U.
That was never his intention. It was never.
I think it was. I think Cena's a closet Canes fan.
Absolutely not.
I think he was back there when.
But if you bring that John Cena type of vibe, that type of character again, I will go, just like you know how they brought Undertaker back a couple times.
Like, you bring him back in the Royal Rumble, he wins it, and then the build up to WrestleMania, he's taking on Gunther or whatever. And Gunther's like, you better bring in the Doctor of Thugonomics or whatever. And then at WrestleMania,
so cool.
You bring him out as the Doctor of Thugonomics, and then uses the chain, bam, hits Gunther, wins his 17th title. Screw you, Flair. They say at WWE, Cena's the man. 17 titles reigns.
And not only that, you bring the Cena that starts to rap again, baby. I want to see Cena rapping.
Gunther. What the hell rhymes with Gunther?
I don't know.
Gunther. You're sorry as the Gators.
Sounds terrible. No, I knew you were going to go that route. No, it doesn't sound right. Okay, sir? It does not sound right.
I just think it's you problem.
All right, so but we're jumping WWE and AEW because of how exciting AEW is.
Well, no, but I mean, the AEW thing right now is the fact that I think they just need to stay consistent, keep racking up the L's.
No.
Or keep racking up the W's that they're getting going right now. They've got some W's packing up right now.
They need a heavy hitter. They need a heavy hitter.
They're going to get a heavy hitter, man.
Shane O'Mac, bro. Bring in Shane O'Mac.
Yeah, but I don't know if that changes anything, man.
Of course it does. If they run with it correctly and they do you just pointed it out.
I like the W's they're stacking up, but I don't know Who's calling the shots right? I just don't know if it's there, man.
You bring in, you got the whole thing with Moxley, which is working. You can't bring Shane O'Mac at all in. It's too soon because of that. So I don't know how they're gonna.
All in would be next year. All out.
Oh, I'm sorry. All out. Yeah,
we already been in. We're trying to get out.
Yeah, we're trying to get out.
Kind of like the Gators off the field, out of the field when they're taking on the Canes.
Or like when we're trying to get rid of the stupid pesky Canes talking to our recruits. Yes. So I think you built them up, and then you eventually bring Shane O'Mac, and the best place to bring Shane O'Mac is in the pay-per-view that they're gonna have here in Orlando, because then you're sticking it to
PC, right?
Yes.
What they should do is have Shane train
World's End. Perfect. World's End. That would be great.
Yeah, maybe that's what they're doing.
Because it'll be the world, and the world is ending because all of a sudden now Shane O'Mac left WWE and is now in AEW. It makes perfect sense. Storyline right there, baby. Right there.
This is where we try to make sense. We try to make dollars for people, and they don't want to listen to us.
What were you gonna say? Sorry for cutting you off.
I was gonna say, no doubt, Joe Hendry to AEW. See, here's the thing, though. I like Joe Hendry. I like everything he brings. I don't think he's a heavy. I don't think he would move the needle if you brought him up to Raw, SmackDown, or AEW. I think he's a good piece. I think the crowd would pop, but I don't think he moves needles.
That was a tough one, man. That was a tough one. I think he could move the needle, but he needs to do something that would elevate him even more. Kind of like the Bryan Danielson, where he eventually took it to the next step.
All right, let's think of this. Let's think of this then. Okay, let's do it this way. Joe Hendry, you're bringing him into AEW. Where do you start him?
No. I don't think he should go to AEW.
No, but I'm saying, but if you're thinking he's a heavy and he could move the needle, where do you bring him into where he moves the needle? That's my problem. It's like I don't think there's nothing there unless you bring him in and he beats Bryan Danielson night one. There's nothing there that's going to change me.
Well, he can't.
He's a heavy or remove the needle. Like I just don't see him moving the needle.
I mean,
will he be a good surprise? Will he be a great, to get the crowd going? Yes, but again, once they see Joe Hendry that week, is he going to change the numbers the next week? And when you say heavy, I think of like CM Punk, where they were at 700, 800. He comes in, they're at 1 million. Like that's a heavy. That's changing. That's a needle mover.
We're talking about the wrong guy going to AEW. The guy that should go to AEW, and I'm glad we're talking about this. So we're bringing a heavy hitter over to AEW, is none other than Brock Lesnar, sir. He needs to leave.
Why don't we have Vince McMahon lead him out and be like, we should have Vince McMahon walk out of the curtain and be like, Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar is the man that should leave WWE. There's a lot of crap going on over there. He's a Vince McMahon guy, so he has no ties to Triple H. There's a lot of heat for all the accusations of Vince and then him related to it. Best thing for Brock Lesnar is to start in a brand new company.
Yeah, but let me ask you this.
AEW.
Let me ask you this. TK has tried to use this whole Vince McMahon saga against WWE. And TKO and them keep distancing themselves by saying we are no longer, Vince McMahon is no longer a part of this. Do you think they bring in Brock Lesnar, whose name was mentioned in this?
They shouldn't. That's the reason why Brock Lesnar should go ahead and leave. They should sign Brock Lesnar to AEW and bring in
Tony Khan brings in Brock Lesnar.
Absolutely, you bring.
You've been trying to dig up this whole thing about Vince and the sex trafficking, and now you bring in a guy that was mentioned in this whole thing.
Again, for Tony Khan is in a desperate measure. He's in a desperate measure.
He is. I see. That's where I think everybody's wrong. Everybody's looking at these numbers and being like, "Oh, they're close."
You bring in Brock Lesnar and you bring him with Shane O'Mac.
Already saying, wait, hold on. You've already got WBD saying we want to bring you back and give you TV rights. Like what else do you need? As long as you have your TV rights deal, you're going to be okay.
but you need a needle mover, bro. And the needle mover is Brock Lesnar. You
Man.
bring in Brock Lesnar. Not only do you bring Brock Lesnar, you bring him with Shane O'Mac, and you
Yeah,
create
but you
that
bring in that
faction.
baggage too. You bring in that baggage.
It's fine. You bring in the baggage that you have to bring in order to get success out there. You bring them. You imagine Brock Lesnar versus Okada.
Then also, let me ask you this though:
What a match!
how much more top heavy do you get? You just extended Swerve Strickland. He's up there in the neighborhood of Mercedes Moné, Ospreay, Okada. I'm sure MJF's up there. I'm sure Hangman Page, the Bucks, Omega. I don't know how much they're getting paid anymore.
Hologram, the Beast Mortals.
Beast Mortals, Hologram. I don't know what they're getting paid. But I mean, like, how much more top heavy can you get?
Yeah, that is true. One more top heavy. Just one more.
And
the right one.
Brock Lesnar wanted $5 million from Vince to wrestle. Vince was okay with him. What do you think he's going to ask Tony Khan for to wrestle?
10 mil. But think about it. Brock Lesnar versus Will Ospreay. Wouldn't that be a great fight to see? How is Will Ospreay going to overcome Brock Lesnar? How Brock Lesnar versus Okada. Okada sticks the finger to Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar comes out in the country hat. Tells him to go F off. Wouldn't it be amazing fights? Those would be amazing fights. Brock Lesnar would go ahead and now you could bring in Wardlow.
We're talking fights, and I mean,
now you could bring Wardlow.
Where's the story that you would go with that though?
Oh, he's gonna be the enforcer for Shane O'Mac. Shane O'Mac comes in with Moxley, Brock Lesnar, all these guys, and they start terrorizing.
So then Okada teams up with AEW?
No, you have 3 different factions. You have the Shane O'Mac faction, you have the Young Bucks one, and then you have the AEW one. You have those 3. All of them trying to seek a majority stake of AEW. And you have to build them up one by one. You know, so you have Tony Khan's crew, which would be Swerve, which would be Bryan Danielson, maybe Claudio Castagnoli, those guys there. Then the Young Bucks, you got Okada, you have Hangman Page if he gets his life together. You got who's another guy that they usually like to go after? Maybe they'll get a Kyle Fletcher. Convince him, Don Callis in that group, whatever. And then in the Shane O'Mac one, you got the new blood, the guys, the ex WWE guys making a comeback out there. So you have Brock Lesnar, Ricochet, Adam Copeland, Christian. I love it. I love that idea. You have those guys. You have those guys going ahead and creating these factions where you're like, holy crap, what's going on? You don't know what you're gonna get from any of those 3. You're not gonna know what you're gonna get. And it'll bring you look. AEW needs.
Here goes the problem with the faction thing, and this is the problem WCW got, because 75 million people want to be in the NWO.
That's true.
The NWO couldn't fight themselves.
That is true.
I mean, they ended up breaking it off and doing the Wolfpack and the Black and White and things like that. But that's when it kind of jumped the shark. Another Florida Gator thing that they like to do there.
We're not sharks, we're gators.
Your coach likes to jump the shark, though. I forgot what coach that was. Who was that? I know it was a photo. It was a Photoshop.
Did you see Billy Napier having a hard time trying to open a bottle
of water afterwards? Yeah. I'd have a tough time too after that. That was no. He had no. That's and again, I know we're gonna. But my whole problem with the whole thing is you had no answers and you didn't try to have the answers. You're just like, oh, he'll figure it out there. Like, oh, they'll figure it out.
That's because Billy Napier is like WWE, too predictable.
Or they just don't have the right people.
No, I think they have the right people. They just don't have the right person in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. AJ Styles does not.
Maybe right.
The AJ Styles is not a needle mover. I'm sorry.
A couple of years ago, yes. Now I think he's happy where he's at. He's happy with WWE showing up. Then he goes home, gets to spend time with his family, shows up for a couple months, then he's back home. Like, and again, Drew McIntyre is a big needle mover in WWE doing what he's doing. The problem that I think a lot of people have is they see what the success they have at WWE, or even the AEW guys, the success they have there, then when they go over, it doesn't always translate to what they were doing there, because you still have to have the antagonist or the protagonist, however you want to do it. You still have to have the baby face to make Drew McIntyre, like the Drew McIntyre CM Punk thing just flowed because the chemistry between them. They don't, quote unquote, if they like each other or they don't like each other, whatever it is, it works. And you have to find that, because then once you see that, the pictures and everything else we talk about, at least I talk about all the time, is you get invested in it. And that's when you hook them. That's when you start making people care about, the characters and things like that. And then that's when you start seeing some needle moving, because then they start caring. And I talked about the 1 week episodic TV. There's a reason NCIS is one of the most watched shows. There's a reason CSI Miami. There's a reason that everybody gets hooked on a show that they like to watch, because they get invested in one of the characters and they want to see it each week. That's what you have to do to the wrestling fans if you want to tune in every week. If you just want to buy pay-per-views, then AEW is always going to have a great pay-per-view when they go to do it, because the matches are always going to be between two great performers. And then WWE, on the flip side, is they usually, the big fours are kind of the pay-per-views you want to get, because that's when they're going to go all out. The other ones are just kind of getting the stuff going. But you've got to get people to invest in your characters if you want them to watch week after week, because there's too much other shit going on.
Let me ask you this. I'm assuming the best seller for AEW is MJF when it comes to merch. It has to be, because he's probably their best.
I would say him or Ospreay.
Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned Will Ospreay. Can AEW make Will Ospreay like the Cody Rhodes of AEW? Can they make, how big Cody, because Cody leads number one when it comes to merch sales, and CM Punk comes in second. So can Will Ospreay be that number one guy, and then MJF be the second guy right there? Can they do that? Because that's the only way. Those are your two big heavy hitters. Let's just keep it real. Those are your two main attractions in AEW. Can you sell Will Ospreay to be a Cody Rhodes? If they can, then that's the way they're going to be able to start getting people to watch their show. They have to be able to turn that around. If you can't get that with Will Ospreay, then Will Ospreay's just there to wrestle.
I think they can, but here's the other thing that I think the issue is going to be. You're going to have to change a little bit of his wrestling style.
It's tough, because and his
he needs to save the big stuff for the big time, the big matches. The problem now is, and this is going to be ultimately, I believe, and this is where sometimes maybe the AEW stuff might get a little stale, is that you see it every week on Dynamite or on Collision, that by the time it gets to the pay-per-view, it's like, oh, this is the same thing I watched. It's just now an hour long instead of a 15-minute here and a 15-minute there or whatever. Now I'm just watching the whole thing at one time. That's what happens, though, when you do everything every week, the same stuff every week. It becomes that like, oh, okay.
Stagnant.
Yeah, so I think they kind of got to move away from that. And they've done better, by the way. But also I know it's his schedule, too. So when he's in, because they fly him home for I think 2 weeks, and then they bring him in, and then they put him on Dynamite Collision, because then he's gone for 2 weeks. So I understand also there's that schedule there, too, but that's kind of what the bed you made, because you wanted to have that time over there, but then I don't need to see him every week. That's the problem too, is I don't know that you can sit here and tell me and sell me the Cody Rhodes thing with Will Ospreay, because I know Will Ospreay is a great performer and we've gotten a little bit of the story, but Cody's story was lived out in front of us. His dad, he goes to WWE. He's a legacy kid. He's Cody Rhodes. He's working with what was it, Evolution at the time? Not Evolution. What were they called? Him, DiBiase, and Orton were called something else. I forgot what they were called. Then he became Stardust. And then he was like, screw this. I'm going out and make my own name. Then he went to AEW. He made the name. Then he wanted to go back to win the title his dad never had. Like, there was a story that lived out in front of us for 10 years. If you go back that far, Ospreay does not have that history, and you haven't sold enough of that story to where, can you do that? Yes, but you got to live more of the story.
So then do you as AEW put all your cards on Will Ospreay to be that main type of wrestler that, hey, our number one merch seller? Can you do that if there is no story?
There's two people, I think. Well, there's three people, but one you've already screwed up. I believe MJF could have been that guy if you didn't turn him back to heel as quick as you did. I think you could have ran with that a little bit longer. Not saying you couldn't have made him heel, whenever you wanted to. But I believe if you would have brought him back and kept him face, he would have been selling merchandise left and right. The kangaroo kick, the scarves, the whatever, they would have been everywhere. Swerve is another one. I think if you went and told his story, look, you own the Ring of Honor. You own a lot of this footage. Use that stuff to your advantage. Show him. Let the fans see his past or everything that he's done to get to where he was. The way he was misused in WWE, how it fueled him. Like, put all that together, because a lot of people forget, or a lot of people don't watch wrestling the way we watch it, to where we know the stuff Cody went through. So then when he came back to WWE and he talked about it, you're like, yes, I know that. Swerve, if you watch WWE, you watch how they misused him. You understand where that comes from. You can get invested in that. The problem I have with Swerve is everything gets personal with him. If you're a face, be a face. If you're going to be gray, then be gray all the time. Everything that he does gets personal. Same with Bryan Danielson. When it came down to it, he started talking about the kids, and I'm going to make you, and that is one of the things, like, I feel like they want everybody to be so gray in AEW that Will Ospreay is probably the only one that you can do that, because you haven't done that to him yet. You haven't given him that heel persona to where people can still buy into him as that baby face. And that's what makes you sell. Cena as a baby, again, him with the kids. I mean, think about this. Every city they went to, whatever the college was, for a while, that was what they changed the color to, his hustle, loyalty, respect. So in every city you got, if they were in Tennessee, it was the University of Tennessee colors. Miami, it was the orange and green. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it got eaten up because
with the little towel, right?
Yeah, the towel, and then also his wristbands, the headband. They had a whole package.
I heard
it for my kid the one time.
I heard the one that he was wearing when he came down to Miami, he threw it in the garbage after that event was over. That's what I heard.
Well, he burned the orange and blue ones. Orange and blue.
He's been wearing those. He's been wearing those for a while.
He said, "This place is shit. I'm burning it down. Trash." But that's the thing is like, I feel like you don't tell enough of the stories, the backstories. Like, even when okay, let's go this route. Something even more recent. If you just started watching AEW, would you understand what the scapegoat thing was all about?
No.
And that just happened a year ago. It's been 1 year. Like, to me, that should be played over and over and over and over again, like, to make sure it hits home.
But let me ask you this, because I was thinking about this right now, and I want you guys, the fans, to tune in and think about this as well. If you start breaking down the superstars that are in WWE and you start comparing them to the AEW, right? And notice, like, for example, you got Cody Rhodes. Who's comparable to Cody Rhodes in AEW? I guess it would be Will Ospreay, right? You got CM Punk, MJF. Who's the Gunther in AEW? Probably Swerve Strickland, I'm assuming. Maybe Swerve moving. Maybe he's the next guy. Who is the Roman Reigns of AEW? They don't have anybody.
No, it's either the top or nobody. I mean, Moxley, I guess you could
Are you kidding me?
Guy, no way. He doesn't have that there. No, he's not there. I'm saying, but Moxley would be your closest thing to that.
If Moxley's the closest thing to a Roman, no.
Like,
you don't have anybody.
I'm not saying Moxley is. I'm saying that's the closest you have.
That's bad. If
that's how far away you are.
Correct. That's as far as we are. You're right. It's a big gap. That's why I'm telling you that their biggest issue is that they don't have a star like type of fighter, like or wrestler. Like,
you know, another thing I don't understand was for everything that they've always said about being different than WWE, and now you actually have WWE saying, WWE stars and legends saying, since Triple H took over, it's a whole different place. So why not let Swerve speak on what the place was? Bryan Danielson speak on what the place was. Why they left? I chose the left because of Vince McMahon. What is it? I mean, I get.
Yeah, but that could only get you so far, though.
Yes, but at least it gets you somewhere.
I'm trying.
Again, if you tell the story of Swerve Strickland, this guy was put together with, you know, AJ France, them that were going to be used good, and then all of a sudden, the next week it was like, nope, you're done.
Sean, here's the issue, and I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Nobody cares about Swerve Strickland's story. That's the problem.
How do you know?
Nobody cares, man.
How do you know?
Chat, do any of you guys care about Swerve Strickland's story?
Do you know Swerve Strickland's story?
Do people care about Swerve Strickland's story?
So then you're saying then Swerve Strickland can't be Gunther.
He can't.
If that's the case, then Swerve's not the third person. Then there is no way there because.
But my issue is, how do you get people? Okay, if like for example, you ask me, Frankie, I want to know what Swerve Strickland's story is all about. Yes, me, Frankie, you, Sean, couple of you guys, no doubt, the Trapio guys who are like watching consistently, like, yeah, I want to know his story. But to the casual fan, do you want to know what Swerve Strickland's story is? No, you can't. They don't care. They have to do something where they built him up right there on the spotlight and people are tuning in. Just like what they did kind of with Gunther. You feel me? Like, hey, we're building Gunther, even though Gunther has his story back then, but not a lot of people know his story, but they're building him up. That's what they had to do with Swerve Strickland, build him up. I think they did a good job doing that. The problem that they have with Swerve Strickland is that they keep bringing him back around. It's like a circle. He keeps running around because now you got him again with Hangman Page. Yes, it's fine. But how many times have these guys fought in each other? These guys have fought each other like 4 or 5 times already. I'm tired of watching those two guys fight. You're not invested on Swerve because what they're doing there is that they're just going ahead and just throwing some random guys here and there. Not everybody. I can't. If I'm a casual fan, do I really care about Swerve's story? No, because I'm not gonna go back. And we're talking about. I mean, I don't want to insult the Gen Z generation, but a lot of those people are not gonna go back. Hardcore fans, yes. Casual fans are not gonna be like, hey, let me look at the what happened back in TNA or what happened in Ring of Honor or what happened in New Japan. Not a lot of people care about that when you're a casual fan. Casual fan is what you're being shown to you right there on the spot. That's what I'm watching. That's what I want to know. That's why the whole Adam Cole MJF story worked for them right there because it got you invested on them being two funny guys that nobody thought could work together, and like, holy shit, these guys are actually funny together, and it worked for them. That's what they need to do with Swerve.
But then you got invested in MJF and Adam Cole, and then you looked into what they were before. There were people still looking at that. That's what I'm saying is put together a package. I'm not saying you got it. You go, hey, go check out what Swerve did back in the day. Give it to them, feed it to them.
I don't know if that's the
why
way.
Why is Swerve so dead set on like, you know, burning everybody down as far as like stepping on them and everybody's holding him down? What started all that? Well, here's what started that. Boom. Just like Darby Allin, all this crazy shit he did to get to where he's at now. You've told that story because he's been around since day one.
There's a lot of people that don't care about that, Sean. That's the problem, man. There's a lot of people that don't care. I look at No Doubt. He said, I don't care about Gunther's story. They don't care. They care about what you're giving them right there on the spot. This is what I'm feeding you.
Yes,
Sell
but
me.
when Gunther is talking, though, what does he say? I'm the ring general. I'm better than everybody else.
Yeah, but because
here's why I'm better than everybody else. I've been through this. I've done that. When they show his video packages, do they just show WWE? No. They show him when he was in NXT UK. They show him when he was touring Japan, doing all the Germany stuff and things like that.
A couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's all you got to do, though. Because, again, boom, okay. They've been around, just like with the Alba Fire, Isla Dawn thing. People don't understand. They've been a tag team for almost 10 plus years. Nobody understands that end of it. Everybody thinks that, everybody in WWE thinks, they'll understand this. And then they throw out the, Michael Cole, everyone's all, Isla Dawn and Alba Fire have been together for 10 years and they've earned their stripes. People don't understand that. If you gave it to them and showed them, I'm not saying, they got to come out and talk about it for 13 minutes, or if you did a 2 to 3 minute package of saying, here's why they're legit. Here's why Swerve is legit. Here's why Swerve is what he is. Here's what somebody is. I'm not saying every week you got to do it on everybody, but when you just throw out and you say Swerve and Hangman Adam Page, okay, great. It's going to be a great match. Why do I need to tune in to watch it? Why should I pay $60 to watch it? Do you know how many people I had call me after the pay-per-view happened and said, hey, is it worth the money to pay for it? Nobody wanted to buy it at the thing because they didn't know how it was going to be. You don't have people invested. And for them, they have to get people invested. It's not Peacock where I pay $5.99 and I got to watch some kind of commercials in between the matches to watch a pay-per-view. No, you got to pay $60 to watch an AEW pay-per-view, unless you have other options. But you've got to make these people invest enough to spend $60. And
I'm 50-50 on what you're saying. And I'll tell you why, man. Because Cody Rhodes has his legacy for all this time. And yes, they were able to relate it to Cody Rhodes' new persona. But it wasn't until he brought that new persona character that they were able to reference his past and be like, okay, you know what? Damn, okay, this guy had to go to AEW. This guy went to all these indie shows. His dad is a legacy, all that stuff. They related it. But if you don't have the right character, or you're not selling the character where people are invested on that character, you can't use their stories or their past to push their character even more further. You have to be invested on what the character is right now. That's who it is. I grasp MJF because I'm invested on MJF right now. I'm just giving an example. I'm invested in MJF because I like how he likes to talk crap to the crowd. I like how he likes to go ahead and do this, do that. I like his kangaroo kick. Okay, now that I'm invested in him, now let's start throwing his history behind it. Hey, when he went to the indie show over there in New York, and you're like, holy crap, why did he go to this indie show? Okay, now I understand. He used to wrestle in this indie show. So now I'm starting to care about his past. And I'm looking at as a casual fan. I'm not looking as hardcore fan. I'm looking as a casual fan. All of a sudden, holy crap, there's a backstory behind this. It makes perfect sense. Now I care of what he did. Same thing with Cody Rhodes. Because if I would have brought in a Cody Rhodes with like the Stardust, who gives a damn about his past? I don't care about his past because that's not the way you could relate to his past. He had to change his character. So you have to.
You're telling me you haven't done something at work that you didn't want to be? You haven't done something that you didn't want to do?
Yeah, but you can't relate that
But that's how wrestling. He related to his story. I didn't want to be Stardust. I did Stardust because I got the team with my brother. But that's not who I was. That's not what I wanted. He said people laughed at him on the elevator. Other wrestlers, when he got on the elevator, used to laugh at him because of his getup. Think about that.
Here's the thing. I don't think you're getting me. I'm not specifying only in reference of Cody. I'm specifying on the character of the wrestler. You have to win over the crowd with what you have in front of you, before you start.
That's where I think you're wrong.
Before you start
I'm
giving
not saying
them
that
the
doesn't
backdrop
play.
stories of their past, and
Right.
then people are actually sold in it. I
I'm
think
not
that's
saying
what
that it 100% doesn't play a factor in it, because yes, you have to be now. You have to, have some type of, something to have them around. But also, when you look back at it, think about this, okay? When Ricochet now is coming into AEW, do you know how much they could use his story of the past to relate to his story now? He's already
yeah.
wrestled Swerve Strickland. He's wrestled Will Ospreay. He's wrestled all these other guys. He's been in the ring with them in Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, where he was Grand Puma. And like, he's been in places to where they go there. So yes, he's got to have something now. But to say that you can't, you just like he has to be it now to build up, no. Because I think the rag to riches story is that story that you're looking for. The Cody, Drew McIntyre, when he came back, what was his main thing? When I had to go find myself, reinvent myself, and I had to come back as this Drew McIntyre, because the chosen one, it didn't work that time. But
what won the fans over with Drew McIntyre? That he became this heel that was a clever heel, that was insulting, jokester, in his social media platforms and everything. You grasp the
where he is now, where he has developed to now, yes. But when he was the champion, when it was COVID, it was because he had gotten through all the other stuff and came back on top. There's still the stories of the past. I'm not saying it's got to be.
And I agree.
You're right. You're right to a point to where, yes, they have to be somewhat relevant. You can't just grab Sean Stanley and Frankie Frezko and throw us out there and be like, well, here's his past. Now, what do you think? No, you've got to have something that the fans want now to be intrigued about. But as you're building, the stories are told, I think if you start the story at the beginning, and again, if you spoon feed maybe some people, maybe some fans need to be spoon fed, then you do that. But to just say, hey, here's Swerve Strickland, here's Hangman Adam Page, go, because they have history. If I just tuned in 3 months ago to AEW, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
That's my point. I think we see eye to eye on what we're talking about here. Let's say Ricochet. You're right. He has had these fights with Will Ospreay. Yes, he has had these fights with Swerve Strickland. The issue here is the casual fan looks and says Ricochet, and he's like, okay, I know Ricochet because he used to be in WWE. They don't know Swerve Strickland, Ricochet, because of his past with Will Ospreay, because of his past with Swerve Strickland. They don't know that.
That's where I say the story of the past. You know the Ricochet you're accustomed to seeing on TV.
But you got to be
able
to
build. Not Ricochet. Here's what Ricochet is. And then you flip back to what he was doing on the other things. And then, boom, you bring him out and he keeps going. There's ways to do it. I'm not saying you got to make them watch a 20-minute video of, hey, here's the history of Ricochet. Here's the history of Swerve Strickland. But if you mix in pieces of it, like for the whole thing with Hangman Adam Page, all of a sudden he's running after Swerve Strickland. If you didn't watch AEW 4 months ago, you don't understand why he's going after Swerve the way he is.
Yes, but that's is what I'm trying to tell you, that what is being shown to us like right now in short span memory compared to long span memory is what I'm trying to tell you. Short span memory stuff that people
both.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Yes, that's what I'm trying. You're absolutely right. Short span memory is what people remember. Remember the short stuff that happens. Okay, Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland have had a feud the last couple of months, last 4 or 5 months. I remember that because it just happened 4 or 5 months. I could understand something that happened a year ago, but to go ahead and say like Swerve and Ricochet, how many years ago has that been? People don't care about that. So. But that doesn't mean they won't care.
I think you're wrong. I think
they'll care, but like you said, you have to kind of spoon feed it to them. but only when you're actually invested on the Ricochet that's being shown to us right now. Because if you start giving me Ricochet right now, and then you start going back and telling me, hey, back in the day, Ricochet would fight against Swerve Strickland, some fans are going to be like, oh, cool. Some fans are going to be like, okay, cool, whatever. I don't care about that. What does he bring to the table now? Like, what is he? That's why
that's where I think those are bullshit wrestling fans. Those
you're not bullshit wrestling fans. They're
yes, they
casual fans.
Okay, they're bullshit wrestling fans. They'll watch it if it's on TV.
Not
They'll
everybody
go to it if it's in their town, if they have the money to go to it. That's
you have to understand that there are fans that are hardcore and there are fans that are not hardcore. That's the reality.
If you don't want to know the history of something, then you don't want to be invested into it. So then, are you a fan?
Of course, you're a fan.
Are you?
Yeah,
or you just watch it because it's on? There's a fan, and there's you know what? Hey, let me tune in.
So you're okay. So okay, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but if you're a little kid, he's a fan because he is. He has no history of anything, but he's a fan.
We're gonna talk kids now. Like I mean,
but I'm telling you, I'm giving you an example.
How many kids are watching AEW?
There's a couple. I've seen a couple kids out there. Not as many as WWE.
There's one or two. Yes, one or two. A couple.
Not
as many as Gators fans. No. Yes.
Not as much as UM fans either.
Yeah.
But
now you're going kids. To me, I'm talking about people that can make their own decision as a wrestling fan. Like,
but Sean, you got to understand another thing too.
But AEW is never patterned to kids. That to me has been the problem.
But what you got? Okay, look, there is just because you're not a hardcore wrestling fan doesn't mean you're not a fan. I'm sorry. There's a lot of friends of mine that have tuned into wrestling and stopped tuning into wrestling, and then they got back into wrestling. Does that mean that they're not a loyal fan? No.
What made them get back into it? What did they get invested into that made them get back into it?
A wrestler.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's the investment. If you get people to invest into a wrestler or a product, then you can make moves. Until then, you're just a wrestling show. You're not even you're a wrestling show.
Yes. I'm not disagreeing with you in that. What I'm just trying to tell you is that
people don't just get invested because they flick on a TV and go, "Hey, that guy's wearing bright stuff."
Some people
hologram.
Some people might. Some people tune in. Some people might just go.
They do until he makes the first mess up, and then they're like,
nope. Not necessarily. No, I didn't know Joe Henry. I'll be very blunt with you. I didn't know. I saw his face here on X. I would see him here and there, and I thought it was trending here and there, but I never cared. But then all of a sudden, I saw him on TV. I said, "Wait, hold on. I kind of like this guy. This guy is funny. This guy is selling me a charisma that I like. He looks like a pretty good, decent wrestler." Dude, and then all of a sudden I started listening to interviews about him, hearing his backstory. I was like, holy crap, this guy has really worked his ass off to try to get his name and his brand out there. Now I'm invested in him.
Invested into him.
But it all started with me just tuning into X one random ass day and saying, holy crap, look at
somebody if you don't ever tune in. I get that part of it. But what I'm saying though is you didn't start getting really, really invested into him until you started looking and seeing what he was or could do.
Yes. I started tuning in.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's the backstory.
Not necessarily because I didn't know his backstory. I just knew that he was a guy.
But you went and listened to podcasts, right?
That's because I'm more of a hard. Because I'm more of a hard. I'm more.
Again, I get
follow
that.
Wrestling.
Because you're hardcore. You'll go look for it.
Yeah.
So if the casual wrestling fan, you give to them. You have to give that to them.
Yeah, you spoon feed it to them.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
The hardcore guy goes and looks for. You need to bring that to TNA TV, to WWE TV, to AEW TV, and show them what they are. That's my point. Yes, the hardcore guys and gals are going to go and look for it. So the casual fans, you have to give it to them.
Yes, I agree with you with that.
You have to give it to them.
Oh Lord, here we go again. You just ruined it by just doing that. But I get you. Like again, I think we see eye to eye. I just feel that the only difference is when it comes to me, when I see wrestler and the regular casual fan, it's just you have to sell what is in front of you before you start selling what's the backdrop behind it. You
See,
understand me? That's all.
that's the bait. To me, let's use a fishing analogy.
Okay.
You dangle what's in front of you right now to get you to bite the hook, right?
hmm
So then once you bite, what do you do then?
You throw another bait if you have to.
You have to give them more of the
Yeah,
back.
you
You
keep
start giving them
on
more and more, and you
right.
feed them, or
Yeah.
they go
Until
and
one of them
find
falls on it.
it, or they go and find it themselves, and that's how you get hooked.
Yeah.
And that's how
Absolutely.
you get the investment. That's all I was trying to say. Like, I'm not sitting here saying that because you're right. The casual wrestling fan isn't going to go look for it. But then why isn't AEW saying, well, then since you're not going to look for it, here you go.
Maybe AEW doesn't know how to spoon feed it correctly to their to the casual fans. That's probably what AEW struggles in.
Well, I think
Selling
they struggle now because they don't use their social media the way they used to.
I agree because I will say this. I'm being very blunt with you. I knew about Joe Henry, but I didn't learn about Joe Henry until there was that poster between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. I think it was in WrestleMania, and some kid or some guy edited it. It was on social media, and then all of a sudden it was like I think it was a post where Drew McIntyre looks and he's like, he shoots it, and somebody edited it, and then all of a sudden it was Joe Henry instead of WrestleMania. I think it was CM Punk. I don't remember too exactly. And then he was talking about it, and I was like, wow. And that's when I saw that, I was like, okay, if Drew McIntyre is taking his time, well, not Drew McIntyre, but whoever edited this did this, and then Drew McIntyre actually spoke about it. I said, who the hell is this Joe Henry guy? And that's when all of a sudden I said, okay, let me take a look at what's going on here. So you're right. I feel like AEW needs to invest again on their social platforms and sell
also,
more.
I think the other thing too is that like for instance, Gunther was asked about Zack Sabre Jr., Will Ospreay, and he's like, because we're all great. He didn't cut them down because they're over an A. No, he was like, because we're all great. We're great wrestlers and this and that. And then again, that gets put out there by WWE. They don't hide it. They put them out there and the answer and the question and everything else there too is. And again, though, I think that has added more flavor to what WWE used to be was if you weren't WWE, you weren't talked about. And that's changed too. That story has changed as well.
And you know what? And look, and I'm just going on AEW social media on X, right? I look at social media of X,
It's
and
usually just a post of matches.
what? Yeah, that's all they do. See, look, they have MJF getting Danny Garcia turning on him, and on that, then the All Out this September 7th, they have a close up with this girl Jamie Hayter. They have All Out September 7th, another poster. Then you have I don't know, some the fight cards like Okada apparently is defending going against Kyle Fletcher. That's all you have. But then I want to look at, let's say for example, Okada, right? If I go to Okada's, does Okada even have an X? I think Okada might have an X. I don't even know if Okada has
an X. I'm sure
he
does. I don't know if he runs it, but he probably has it.
Okay, so if I go see Okada, where's Okada?
I think it's on a Rainmaker or something.
Let me see. It says here, yeah, Rainmaker Okada. Okay, so I look at Rainmaker Okada. So here's Okada, and again, he's different, right? Because he's from Japan and stuff like that. So or he's Asian. So I'm looking at his X, right? All I see is obviously he reposted a picture of him with the Young Bucks about selling his shirt. I see him selling himself here wrestling, saying that he's gonna go against Claudio Castagnoli, a repost,
bitches,
an interview, another recap of what happened in a Dynamite, and that's it. Tomorrow, a poster. You don't see Okada selling himself kind of like what Drew McIntyre does, where he goes and he has a feud with somebody, and he'll take a picture with Jack Perry. Like that's what you need from some of these AEW wrestlers to start doing again. because like I told you, I was always invested on that Chris Jericho faction where he had, Sammy Guevara, when he had, who else was in that
The
group?
Inner Circle.
The Inner Circle.
Yeah.
That they did a phenomenal job with their social media. They would always sell. They did a thing where they had the Brady Bunch type of vibe
Yeah.
to it, and it was interesting.
Even Big Bill and them, when that first came out, I don't know if it's still as pertinent.
He's not
as it was,
the learning tree. Like, I haven't even gone to Big Bill's thing. I don't think he's done it anymore.
It's been buried or what?
I don't know. I haven't seen it in a minute where he would give like the daily, like
the weekly is the weekly learning tree,
like the weekly learning thing. I think he stopped doing it. I haven't seen him do it. I don't know. And you're right. I think that's what's hurting, AEW's wrestlers. Now I don't know if that's something that it is. You tell me. Maybe you know more than I do. Is WWE telling these wrestlers to do that, or is that they just take the initiative of doing it themselves?
I think now Triple H has taken, like, I know Vince, it was probably a lot of them didn't want to make a mistake because then you get buried. I think now there's more open to it, and then I think they understand what they can and can't do, and they're not scared to make, hey, if I make a mistake, maybe as long as it's not a crazy mistake, they'll get, talked to, and not before you make a mistake, you could injure, you could be going for the heavyweight title. The next week you're off the shows. That's how it was with Vince. It was his way or the highway. So, I think that now that I feel like the synergy of WWE is everybody's working for one goal, and it shows. They're having fun. They're doing, everything. You look at their social media. I don't know anybody that's not posting or not doing something, whether it's community related, whether it's whatever. Cody posts from his signings when he's doing something, usually one kid or something from every signing. You had, I know Jade took some pictures of her walking and video when they were overseas and stuff like that, showing what they're doing there. It just seems to me now like it's like all promotion from AEW, whereas before you used to get the behind the scenes, the elite. Even the thing with Sammy's podcast, you had the Dark Order when John Huber was doing it and everything, and that and all that stuff. Like those things went by, and I don't understand why. Those are the things where, again, those actually helped you with the behind the scenes and backstories to other things, because you would get little clues from those podcasts or those little vignettes or vlogs or whatever the hell they were calling them. It would be something like, oh, remember when Cody took on this guy at da-da-da, and then all of a sudden somebody would just jump in and be like, he kicked his ass, and then it would shut off or whatever. But there were always little small nugget things that was building up for whatever was to happen in the past. So there was getting the stories of the past out to people that were looking for it.
And you point out a very good point, because I'm looking at MJF, right? His big feud right now is against Danny Garcia. And then I look at his post, and there's nothing of him with anything with Danny Garcia or anything like that. And I know it's only 2 weeks. They only have 2 weeks to work with this. But there's nothing. All he has is a post of his. It's as simple as this: "I'm gonna break your neck, boy." Hashtag thank me later. And then, but back in the day when he was with Adam Cole, remember Adam Cole would do the Twitch, and then MJF would jump into his Twitch stream, and that would trend. So it's like you have two perspectives, and here's where it could cost AEW and their wrestlers, is that when you're not making money, because that's what drives everybody, money, right? When you're not making money, you're taking that extra step. Hey, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. Like whatever accomplishment in order to get to a higher position and get paid. Once you've paid that person, now there's only a certain amount of them that will still have that drive. Hey, let me still keep doing this. Let me still keep doing that. Kind of like the MJs, Kobe Bryants, the guys who would be ballers but just would not stop. The Messi.
They'll be in the gym at 4 in the morning.
Those guys that are, no matter how much you pay them, they're still giving them their grind no matter what.
Yeah.
Now in AEW, you paid MJF, so now you're gonna have is MJF gonna go ahead and go that far in Extreme? No, he doesn't. He doesn't have to. I've already got paid. Okada, I don't have to do that. I'm making my money. I'm good. Will Ospreay, I don't have to do that. I've made my money. It's like, hey, you kind of wiggle out. Cody makes his money, but Cody still finds a way. Look at The Rock. Look at The Rock. The Rock is a perfect example of somebody who just loves wrestling so much that he doesn't care. He's like, yo, I'm gonna do promos on social media. I'm gonna do that. He takes that time to just do it.
Even when he's doing it now, though, he still does his workout ones or his diet one, or he's on there at least just to make it look relevant.
It's kind of like saying separating the men from the boys, and that's exactly what you're getting. And you're now realizing, hey, this person, and that's one thing I think AEW and WWE Triple H does a really good job. He realizes who is committed and who isn't. Who is the guys who are going that above and beyond, besides the guys that are just stagnant and just, hey, let me just ride the coast because I'm good. I'm Gucci.
Yeah, but and also that's on TK too, to be like, hey, once a week, I need to get send it to her. You don't have to do anything else. Record it, send it to us, and then release it from AEW. Even if you release it from AEW, it's something. They're not doing anything, bro. They're not doing anything.
Can you force them to do that, though? Can you?
I mean, dude. I mean, again, I guess technically they're signed to a contract. If you don't have it in there at all that they have to do social media, I mean, you could do that. But then again, it's like,
I'm making all these bucks.
I think at that point, then you have to realize and go, okay, this is the way it's going to be. Okay. I mean, look, they took a hard stance on Ricky Starks or something. I mean, what the hell's going on with that? Now Ricky Starks comes out and was like, I'm tired of it. I didn't say no to any creative. Who's telling the truth? Who's lying? Who's doing what? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like Ricky Starks is doing more social media and podcasts now than he ever did with AEW. It feels like to me now.
And that's the difference, because look, I'll give you an example. I saw something on the UF game, right? And there was this one guy. It was really funny, and one of my friends shared it with me, that once beat the crap out of UF, the guy went on his PS5. He turned on the college football game, picked the University of Florida versus and he ran up the score of UF versus because that's how mad he was because beat him. What ended up happening? He had over 500,000 views.
Yeah. No, the little stupid things. I mean, think about it. I'm sure when Drew McIntyre and CM Punk started this thing, they're like, oh, we'll probably get a little bit of things to help out. I don't think they thought it was going to turn into what it turned into.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's always that. It's all the thing. I mean, The Rock, think about what they did. I think it was after Raw went off the air. Rock kept rolling, right? Like, keep this damn thing rolling. I'm the final boss. Put that on, and everything else. Like that's little things like that work. The WWE, their social media team, after the show went off the air last night, it was Rhea yeeting and Jey Uso yeeting and Damian Priest. They finally talked them into coming out to do one big yeet. Like, it's stupid things like that work, man.
Yeah.
It was them trying to get The Undertaker to dance back in the day, to break kayfabe, and they were trying to get him to do a spinneroonie. You know what I'm saying? It's like little stupid things like that. But when you post them, it's like, oh, okay, all right, let's see what this is. Because, again, when you go to a live show and you go to a Raw, it's different. You see more of the personality on live shows than you do on TV. When you're there for a TV recording, you get them wrestling for the red light. When you go to a live show, you'll get a little bit more personalities. So, all right, man. Real quick, the question no doubt had Wyatt 6 are built off a past, but they are wildly interesting now as well. Which one is more important? Well, I think in that case, though, because of that situation, that is just, I mean, it's Bray Wyatt. It's off of that vision, and they're interesting right now because of, I also think because of that, being built off of that, and the characters and what they meant to the Bray Wyatt story, I think is really why that stays interesting. And then also, I think because of the twist that they're doing now, to where it's not kind of supernatural, it's more humanized, I think, to where you can kind of invest into it a little bit more than before if you didn't understand it. Because Bray was way ahead of everybody else on as far as what he wanted that to be. Because I think he was even, again, during COVID, it worked perfectly because you had a lot of cinematic matches and you could see more of that character play out in things, to whereas when you had to do it during a live show in front of people, great entrance, great, things, some great moveset, but the character wrestling wise didn't work as well because there's no camera tricks, no things like that.
To answer that question, for no doubt, it's built off the past, but it's more important of what they're doing now, because if you are not able to capitalize and make this Wyatt 6 evil, dark, you're gonna get bored of it. I know it. Again, people are invested because of Bray Wyatt, but people are gonna eventually turn out because if you don't sell it correctly, people are gonna be like, I'm tired of it. Okay, it was nice, it was a good run, move on from it.
I think you might be a little bit on there and a little bit off there, because I think there's so many Bray Wyatt fans that as long as it keeps a resemblance of what Bray's vision is, it's always going to be okay for them. That's the part where I think, I agree with you as far as, for most people, but I think there's still that group of Bray, that just want to see that vision carried on. Do you think there's a future for mixed tag team division with the belt? No more belts. God bless. I mean, now we've got TNA X Division titles on TV. I mean, what is going on?
For me, is a big hard no. I saw that play out in AEW, where they had Sammy Guevara and his wife. I forgot her name. What's her name? Remember her name?
Ty Conti.
Ty Conti. There you go. Thank you, sir. And it didn't work out, so I don't want to see that happen in WWE. I hope they don't do it.
Yeah, no, and also I just don't know if there's enough. Yeah, you've got Rhea and you've got Damian, you got Rhea and Jey Uso, you've got Dom and Liv, Becky and Seth if Becky comes back. Maybe Charlotte and Andrade, maybe you could throw together, but then you start throwing people together. Well, you got Zelina too with her group, so you can put them together.
Look, Kaiser and Tiffany Stratton, maybe.
They're on two different brands, so you have to move Kaiser over to SmackDown.
Bianca Belair and
but you break up the tag teams. So, I mean, there's ways you could do it, and I guess there is enough, because I was thinking there wasn't enough teams to do it. But again, how do you make it? It'll be kind of like what Speed is. It's cool to watch for 3 quick minutes, but then it's like, I can care less. After you watch it, it's not like.
Do you still watch it?
I still watch it every once in a while.
I don't.
It's like 2.5 minutes. I forward through it. Done. But I mean, like that. I think they would end up turning into where good matches, but nothing that gets me drawn to it to where it means anything. It almost, to me now, is like what the women's tag team titles are. Honestly, right now I can get okay, all right, great, they're on. Okay, all right. So there you go, Frankie. Let them know where they can hear from you tomorrow.
Let me talk to you. We're gonna go ahead and obviously have the show tomorrow at 8:00. We'll talk about obviously the stupid Canes beating the Gators, Florida State's unfortunate
0-2 start
demise apparently, and we're gonna talk about Dolphins. I have a hype video, ladies and gentlemen. I created a hype video for the Miami Dolphins, so definitely tune in. I have a hype video for the Dolphins for the regular season to start off, so definitely tune in. I will be going ahead and showcasing that hype video tomorrow night. So if you guys are Dolphin fans, or you ladies are Dolphin fans, tune in tomorrow special preview world premiere of our hype Miami Dolphins video. And then you can always catch me at Fresco Music and Frankie Frezko YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit that subscribe, and make sure you tell your friends and family. That way we could grow our community. We want to grow it as much as we can. We're getting into Dolphins season, so I have some news as well that there might be some tickets available this regular season, so I will go ahead and let you guys know. For all you guys that tune in, remember I did mention that there will be possibly a game where I will go ahead and give away 2 tickets to Miami Dolphins game, and you would be sitting in the 100 section for those games. So there is a possibility. It looks like there was one, but there was one that I was gonna miss, but now I'm gonna go. So, but there is a second one, so it looks like I'm gonna try to give it away. So tune in, guys, and I will definitely give those away one of these shows. So just tune in. Make sure you tune in.
All right. And you can check me out, Stanley Media _11 on X, Stanley Media House on IG, Threads, TikTok. And of course, it is the Stanley Media House Network YouTube channel. Please hit the subscribe, hit the likes. If you're on the Frankie Frezko channel, jump over to the Stanley Media House channel, hit the subscribe, hit the like. Also, if you're on the Stanley Media House YouTube channel, jump on over to the Frankie Frezko channel, hit that subscribe, like, and we appreciate each and every one of you. And in the chat tonight, we had No Doubt, DeTrapio, who big FSU fan. Steven Gonzalez was in there. We had Scarlett, appreciate that. That's a new name, I think. We had Alexa in, Josh in, of course. Appreciate all of you guys. Karoon was in. Let's see, one more. Who else we got? A lot of Steven Gonzalez. I think I said already. I didn't. There you go. Jeff from Long Island was in earlier. Terry was in with us. And of course, did I say No Doubt? Did I skip No Doubt? If I did, I apologize. It wasn't because your team's 0-2. But I appreciate everybody that's in. Dad, appreciate you tuning in. And of course, I want to thank the great Frankie Frezko for being here and being a part of the show. And I just want him to know that I would not be able to do it without you, Frankie Frezko. Because of you, this show is possible. And I thank you.
Yeah, okay.
And in the words of the great Gordon Soley. Oh, you got to come back. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I don't.